Okay, it should be streaming. View on watch page. There we go. All right, here we go. Yeah, so it should be, what, another 10 minutes or so?
Eight minutes.
Yeah, okay.
In the chat, somebody said, CitizenCon 2016 delayed to 2017.
Yeah, I got you. Now, there's always going to be a delay. I think there's always going to be a delay. Tech support issues or tech issues or camera issues or some kind of issue. So I'm not expecting this to start till 5:30.
Right.
But I'm ready. What do you think is going to be shown? You have
I
any
think they're
ideas?
going to go. I think they're going to be showing more in depth of what they've been showing on around the verse these last few weeks.
Like what? What do you think?
Um,
I think they're going to talk about Squadron 42.
Squadron 42 and oh, the new
Star
the
Marine.
new UI, the new UI in Star Marine.
We got Chandra's ready in our chat.
Whoa, somebody just mentioned you. Say, Mr. Everything Derek, we are missing the live stream and as some peeps already are streaming from inside. That's on the one I'm watching on the RSI website. It's from Ricci, RICCI.
Nope, don't know who he is. Okay. Well, I'm on CitizenCon streaming Star Citizen. I'm on the page right here. There's nobody streaming right now. Let me refresh the page. I don't know what they're talking about.
Oh, shoot, I had to push play. There we go.
Yeah, but play doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it's just a commercial.
Well, I see the Star Citizen. You got it to play actually? Because I hit
Yeah,
play and nothing's happened.
I pushed the play and all I got was a taco box commercial.
I got nothing. It's not playing at all.
That was
And
on the RSI website, though.
okay, because I'm okay. Let me back up then.
Yeah, I just did it on the Twitch site, too. And I got the taco box commercial.
Yeah, I see a taco box commercial.
Stop. With that box, you'll be the first to win PlayStation VR. Player 1. Soon, it spreads like wildfire. Humanity becomes so plugged in, we never see them coming. That's why I was set back to stop you.
Oh, hey, I won.
Right.
The future of gaming starts at Taco Bell. Grab any $5 box and you can be one of the first to win PlayStation VR.
Okay, this says watch on Twitch. Boom, I clicked it.
Yeah, and I'm on Star Citizen Twitch.
Yeah, and that's the exact same thing. It's just the schedule.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know who's saying that it's playing. But see, I'm watching somebody else's.
No, what everybody's saying is that there's people there at CitizenCon that are already streaming on Twitch, I guess using their cell phones.
I got you. But I'm looking at some other streamers, and they're all looking at the schedule too.
Holy cow, 3,111,962.
No, that's their total views. That's not how many people are on right now. That's a number somewhere else.
You're used to being player one, but what about player one with PlayStation
Okay, go ahead and hit
VR?
play.
Right now, when you grab a $5 big box from Taco Bell, you have the chance to win a brand new PlayStation VR launch bundle. Wait, what? Let's recap for a second. That's a cheddar habanero quesarito, a Doritos Locos taco,
I can't choose the volume because it just...
a crunchy taco,
Yeah, I can't choose the volume. Can't do anything on that. Wow.
and a medium drink for just $5.
I can adjust
And you
my
might
volume.
just win a PlayStation
Yeah,
VR.
on
Not
the
bad.
on
Get
the
to Taco
screen,
Bell
it
now
won't let
for a
me-
$5 big box and a chance to win your very own
I
PlayStation
can't hear
VR
anything
bundle.
because this is blasting my ears. There we go. Now I can change the volume. But when that taco thing was playing, I couldn't. It's not live. Who said it was live? Bullshitter.
Yeah, now everybody's counting down. Oh, late by seconds.
Yeah.
Late. Everybody's screaming now.
I'm just gonna relax and hope that it starts in sometimes. Not try not to get too hyped up. Please move this. Grub's on.
He's on the website.
No. Discord.
I'm showing him offline.
He must have just logged off because he was on just 2 seconds ago.
Huh.
I just sent him a message saying coming into chat. No big deal.
Oh, there we go. Starting with the commercial.
Which means we can pretty much get a one-to-one between
All right, here
the
we
real
go.
Mark Hamill and the face rig.
When there's an animation that comes in, he will always review it, and then if there's any changes that he needs to make, he'll make the change, then export that into Engine, and then it's up to myself or Forrest to review it.
Through that data, we kind of build a 3D mesh that's very high and very dense. And then we basically have a basic topology that we use for all of our heads, which is our edge loops, our vert counts, our face sizes. And then we have that, in a way, morph to these high-end 3D scans, and that automatically maps all of your surface area for all your faces to the 3D data.
But then once it's actually in, then that's going to be up to Stephen Bender, the animation director, to make sure that it all looks as it should.
And I work with the animators in developing those motion capture animations so that they work well in the game. They're fluid, they have a good aesthetic value to it. And then I also work with the designers in implementing that, as well as the programmers, into the final product.
And now all of a sudden you have this head that perfectly matches, you know, an actor. Once you have that, we can start actually putting our skeleton on there.
So one of the unique things we do is we use a muscle-based system underneath the skin. So we add a bunch of joints and muscles that deform the skin correctly as if it had real muscles. So game engines can't really handle muscles, but we use some proprietary tricks that make it work in the engine.
Start with the movements, you go to the mesh, and then you go back, grab that movement data, add it to the skeleton.
Are you
and
watching
now
the
as the
skeleton?
skeleton moves, you apply all that movement data that we got, or mocap, so to speak, and bring this topology that's now been morphed to the character's head kind of to life. And now you can start seeing them move because we got the skeletons on there and so on. Once we have that, it's time to take this kind of gray head and then actually get it into the game to be able to start applying our diffuse maps, mirror maps, gloss, speculars, subsurface scatters, kind of these maps that are generated from these character faces through a series of photographs with each its own specific purpose.
We're not going for a pre-rendered approach. Like lots of games actually pre-render their scenes with very high bitrate, so you don't see that they're pre-rendered, but they're pre-rendered. We want to try to get it in real time, but our facial structure is so complex, it's basically cutting edge, that it means like we need to really optimize in a clever way so we can actually have, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters on a bridge in highest fidelity talking to each other while the player is present in real time.
As we build the pipeline, the faster it's getting.
You have your animation pipeline, you have your modeling pipeline, you have your conceptual pipeline, we have our facial scan data pipeline, we have our hair pipeline. So there's all these different pipes that kind of build this system that we use to actually get from the very beginning to the very end.
All right, looks like
And
we're
welcome
almost
back
gonna
once
start.
again to our live CitizenCon 2946 pre-show. Now, we've never done a pre-show before. Folks are filing into the Avalon Hollywood right now. Folks backstage are making the final preparations to get the CitizenCon presentation underway, and we are going to keep you company while those last-minute preparations are underway.
Yay.
And keeping me company while I keep you company is lead designer of Squadron 42, Mr. Phil Miller.
Yeah,
How you doing,
got it
Phil?
right.
Yeah,
Got it right.
We rehearsed before. I'm like Miller, Melon. Now, Phil, you're the lead designer of Squadron 42.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us real quick what that means?
It's just keeping an overall eye on the whole game and making sure Chris's vision gets put into place.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, it's a real easy job.
Now, no kidding. I'd like to see. All right, never mind. I'm not going to touch that one.
Yeah.
All right, now you've worked with Chris for quite some time.
Yeah. Well, I've known him since we were 5.
Since
The guy on the
yeah,
left.
Yeah, Chris and Aaron. Like Aaron was on 3.
Yeah.
And
His,
he went off to the
Star
States. Well, I
Citizen
did
was
back
twice as
in
big.
'86. I did a Strikers run with him on the BBC. Then he cleared off to the States.
He's more
Then
important.
I kind of joined him for a while, then came back, then joined up again. We did Starlancer together. Then this came along.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, it's not just you, Chris, and Aaron. It was also Nick Elms?
Yeah, Nick Elms and his brother Simon.
And his
Yeah,
brother
so
Simon.
it's like the Goonies.
Yeah.
Like Mancunian Goonies.
Yeah, and all 5 of you are now working on Star Citizen and Squadron
yeah.
42.
Yeah.
All right. So you've known Chris since you were 5.
Yeah.
You've worked with them on a number of projects.
Yep.
How do you get to do sorry, somebody's in my ear right now.
What?
Like you say your job is to make sure Chris's vision is made real. So
Yeah,
can you elaborate on that a little bit more? What does that entail?
Oh, it's just what's handy about it is we're all kind of on because we all grew up together. We're kind of on the same wavelengths. We've got the same interests, the same tastes. So it's kind of handy because you can kind of get into his head, him and Aaron, and then pass that on to the rest of the team.
All right. So for Squadron 42, Squadron 42 is our single-player campaign for the Star Citizen universe, basically. What can you tell us about Squadron 42? We don't want to do any spoilers or anything, but for those of us who may be tuning in for the first time, because a lot of people discover Star Citizen through these broadcasts, why don't you give us just a quick, like a white paper, a lowdown on what Squadron 42 is?
Come on.
Come on, man.
No, it's just the single player experience is just huge. It's kind of like Wing Commander, moved on. It's the next step. That's we're all in that mindset. That's what we want to do. And it's just It's just huge. It's insane.
I was going to say, Wing Commander is the next step. It's more like, I think it's like Wing Commander with the next couple steps in many regards. Yeah. So,
the
all right.
next mile.
Gotcha. So, do you do any work for Star Citizen? Or does the work for Squadron 42 carry over into Star Citizen?
Yeah,
anyway?
I stick my nose in on a few of the ship designs. You know, so,
Okay.
The Polaris, that was one. Yeah, I had a hand in that. That was fun. You know, that's one of the fun sides of it. You know, you get in at the start.
Gotcha.
You're working it all out. All the crazy stuff you got to channel out and then.
Right. And folks saw the first couple glimpses of the Polaris this weekend. I believe we'll see a couple more glimpses of the Polaris later on in the show.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah.
We're gonna throw it back down to Tyler Wicken, who's on the floor, and I believe he has a special guest. So Tyler, take it away, man.
Hey everyone, so we're still in the lobby. It is crowded. People are piling
Looks like
in.
Captain
I am
Richard.
here with none other than Captain Richard. So Captain, I was outside. I saw you at the front of the line. What time did you get here this morning?
I got in at about
a horrible
9:30,
microphone.
so that was about 5.5 hours ago.
That is dedication. That is dedication. So I have a question for you. Where did you come from?
Actually flew in from Washington, D.C.
Okay, very cool. And so one of the questions I want to ask you is, what does the Star Citizen community mean to you?
It's easily the best gaming community in the world. I have never felt like part of a community. It felt more like a really huge family versus just something you kind of join in. As a Star Citizen streamer, it's been just a really hugely supportive community. So thank you to everyone for tuning in.
No, that is beautiful. And so before we go, do you want to give anybody a shout out? Anybody at home that's watching?
Well, yeah, hi Mom. No, but I just want to say thank you again to everyone who supports not only me but all the other Star Citizen streamers out there, and of course Squadron.
Fantastic. So we're going to go ahead and shoot over to another video to take another look at a year in review, so check it out.
Year in review, here we go. This is the long video.
The stuff we're about to show you today is full R&D investigation into the catastrophic damage of capital ships. There's some very specific milestones and goals that we try to accomplish with this, because there is a high-level plan to have fully explorable dead ships, not only in space but also on planet surfaces. The idea behind the R&D work was initiated, shall we say, from a key point in the story. It was something that I wanted to kill two birds with one stone. So we know we wanted to achieve these things for the PU, and why not try and do the same for some parts of the story. So the starting point was, we've obviously got a lot of capital ship material that we can use, ranging from the Idris to the Javelin to the Bengal. The key point is that we didn't want to have to recreate everything.
Your microphone's going crazy.
So you could, for example, take an environment or a
feedback
ship
or
and
something.
go, okay, this is 100% damage now, and start again. You would get a very good result that way. But what we wanted to do is we really wanted to push strong reuse of existing assets, simple shader swaps, and full use of
See,
VFX
Grub just
and
came on.
lighting to push a mood and a feel into these areas.
Grubalicious.
Oh, Grub.
By default, when I went around a lot of the different departments and I spoke to them about the catastrophic damage, the default thought that comes to everyone's head is it's on fire. Everything is burning to ashes, and no one can escape or get out or get in, and that's great. But if you study real-world reference, such as aircraft carriers, big ships in the ocean, oil rigs, they have very advanced fire retardant systems that's more than capable of essentially putting catastrophic fires out, so fire crews can get in. And not only does that kind of make things accessible, but it also kind of opens opportunity to have lots of wet surfaces that we can then, with the light going out, play with very kind of clever lighting techniques to try and like kind of push a mood that we're after, which is dark, dead, slow. It should kind of work. The environment that you're used to should now be working against you. So these are the things that we're trying to create. As mentioned,
Can't wait to experience something like
a lot
that
of
in
oil
the game.
reference, such as oil rigs.
Yeah.
Large structures that can put themselves out.
Grub said he can't come on, he's traveling.
Obviously, that's not enough. There's a wealth of films and reference that we can kind of look at and pull inspiration from. I'm lucky enough to have worked on some of those, so much like the cat. But the real kind of mood and feeling came from a lot of kind of Ridley Scott stuff. And if the wheel isn't broken, I don't believe in fixing it. So we had a lot of inspiration from IPs such as Alien, Blade Runner, all the 80s classic sci-fi films, shall we say. I hope that gives you an insight into the work that's gone into the R&D for the catastrophic damage effects. It's a huge collaborative approach between a lot of departments, not just art, but also Ali and his team and Mike and his team with the VFX. Seeing everyone come together to kind of produce these results is awe-inspiring, and I hope you liked it.
So for the last couple of months, the graphics team have been working on a bunch of features to improve the quality of the lighting, predominantly so we can get some better visuals in the down chips or the crashed chips. This mainly comes down to improving the particle lighting and for our VFX team, which we've added some volumetric features there to really make it stand out, especially when we've got all the fog and other effects going. And the other part of what we've been working on is to improve the bloom and lens flares to give a better glare when you look at these bright lights, which we get in these very dark and broken ships. When you think of a derelict or crashed spaceship, probably one of the first things you can picture is the atmospheric lighting, with shafts of light in the smoky, mangled aftermath. So it was clear that this would be an area of technology we would need to focus on to achieve that look. The first improvement we wanted to make was on the lighting of our particle effects. Previously, they had used their own lighting system.
They're extra proud of this because they've already shown this.
So, for example, we'd be missing crucial shadows.
I'll come in and say hello.
The lights would be incorrect.
Hey, there you are.
The rest of the engine, however, uses a system
what's
called
up?
powered lighting,
Yeah,
which can
we're just
efficiently
on
cope
holiday.
with
We don't even
hundreds
know
of light
them. And
sources.
say
So
we're
we
pretty much
adapted
just
this
traveling.
system so that we could use it on our particle effects
We're just
too.
chilling, relaxing.
And this really helped us tie the particle lighting in with the rest of the art much better.
I like this.
However, because particles are really just approximations of volumes, we decided to go one step further and apply
voice
volumetric
chat
lighting
thing.
by
It's pretty
sampling
good
the
'cause I
lighting
can
many
talk
times
on
across
the
each
go and
particle's
I can
volume.
find out, like, information
This gives
while
every
I'm,
light the ability to cast a light shaft within every particle effect.
Yeah, the Discord.
The other big change we've made is to improve our bloom and flare effect.
They're right now
Maximize
at
the
CitizenCon,
glare and
they're
bounces
just
of
showing
light you
old
get due
videos.
to the imperfections within a camera or
Oh,
the
okay.
human eye. There are generally two approaches to
They're not
flares,
showing any cool
artist-driven
gritty stuff?
and procedural.
Not yet.
CryEngine's
I mean,
base
it's
flare
cool, but
implementation
but
is
we've already seen it.
artist-driven and blends and
they're
distorts
just
many
showing
textures on top of
videos
each other
that
to
they've
create
already
complex
put out
flares
for
that
the
can look
past
great in the
year.
right conditions, but also aren't
Okay.
physically based, and so don't simulate the actual light shape or respond correctly to other effects such as depth
Like
of
when
field
the
and motion
Idris
blur.
was crashed and showed all the
Procedural
interior
techniques, on the
crash
other
stuff.
hand, are generated by code
Yeah.
purely based off the higher dynamic range image data,
But
and
doesn't
therefore
the
give
Space
accurate
Marines
highlight
come out,
shapes
like,
and respond to other
then
aspects
like,
as expected.
sometime soon?
However,
like in the
procedural
next couple of
techniques
weeks?
usually look
As
quite
we're trying to find
relative
out.
to their cost.
They're going to announce.
So we came up with
Yeah,
a
we're waiting.
method of
5th,
generating
yeah.
physically based flares, where each individual element can be
Because that's a whole
customized
big
to
game
exhibit a wide
changer.
range of physically based
Yeah,
distortions
but that's
and
a
color
single
shifts.
player.
Yeah, the whole system
Oh,
still
so
runs
they're not gonna-
faster than our
okay.
previous system.
Right.
So hopefully you can see the benefits of all the new tech,
And that's
hopefully
basically
it'll be with you
the.
soon in the next
I don't
few
know
weeks
if
in the next
Mr. E's
release.
going to keep that the way it
I've been
was
working
originally
on the
thought out, but
sound design for
that
the
was going to be
ambulance
like the
inside
boot
Idris.
camp. You had to go through
And
that
specifically, the last few days, I've
as
been
part of
working
your
on
boot
the
camp.
various damage levels across the
For
ship.
one
So
NAS.
From 10% damage. Right
Yeah,
up to
Squadron
100%.
42, definitely. It's still on there.
Today I'm going to show you the more extreme of those
That's
damage
good.
states, and that's the Idris on a really, really bad day.
Because I was
so
watching.
here we are on the Idris, and obviously looking around,
a video
something
like
pretty
8
catastrophic
it
has
was like
happened.
last week.
So this is the audio design for
Yeah,
a
I think yeah,
very
beginning-
damaged,
like last week Friday or like
crashed, in fact,
or this week.
Idris.
I was watching
and
where they
we'll
were
fly
like doing all the new
the level now,
the HUD the
nice and
HUD
slowly, so you can
layout
soak
and
up
stuff
the
like that, and
ambience,
then
I'll
also
keep
like
the chat
what the game
to a
is going to
minimum.
look like once like multiplayer Marines and stuff like that. Like you can change out your loadout, you can change your there's a scout, and then there's like a trooper, and then there's like all these different like you can change all your weapons and all that type of stuff. So
yeah,
that actually looked really good.
Right.
The good thing is they're going like futuristic, which is good. They're not like it still looks good, and yeah, I like it.
Once again, with this version of the Idris, the emphasis has been on detail and creating a very positional 3D environment to explore.
I hope they give everybody like a free fly of the Idris.
Yeah.
Oh, and I might be bringing another. I might be recruiting someone to come and play Star Citizen as well.
Oh, nice.
Because I got him to buy a $3,000 computer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you should have a look at Star Citizen. He's like, yeah, I'll have a look. And I'm like, sweet. If you join up, you can join the 1ANF. He's like, well, what's that? I'm like, oh, it's probably one of the best organizations in the game. Like it's still growing and still, you know, everything's
Right.
developing, but it's going to be probably one of the best and funnest orgs in Star Citizen. So he's like, oh yeah, cool.
That's what we hope, right? We want to be.
This approach of
we want to have a lot of
using
fun.
hundreds upon hundreds
We will be,
of
you know,
individual
once, you know,
sound spots to
we just
create
gotta
the audio environment does give you this sort of 3D
be
positional
professional
thing, but it gives you a great sense of
you know,
depth.
have a time where we have
And as you
fun
approach many of these sound spots, their character changes, they brighten.
It's
as
not
you
like
get
the
closer to
test
them.
squadron
We bring
where
in
it's got like 4,000 people on. You know, no one.
Is your
no one
lunch
hardly
break a
knows,
race
you know,
against
one
the
another.
clock? You run
Everyone
here,
puts
you run there,
time
until
to
everything
stuff.
comes to a
It's actually
screeching halt.
10,000.
Tick, tick, tick.
10,000,
Now is the
there you
time
go.
for a
So-
5-hour energy protein shot.
At least
21
we're gonna be
grams
like,
of
you know,
protein, the
small-
energy
we're
you need
small
for the
now,
rest of your
but, you
day,
know, we're
and
slowly
100
getting
little
knowledge.
calories. It's not
Later on,
lunch,
you know, when you get
it's
like, you know,
energy
1,000,
and
2,000
protein,
people,
and a lot faster
you're
than
actually gonna know
fast
who's
food.
who and
5-hour energy protein shots. Energy, protein, 100 calories.
It was hard to hear you because he just had this like advertisement.
As we start to bring up the procedural
I
damage
don't know.
in the audio,
My screen switched to an
things start
advertisement.
to rattle and hum.
Yeah, mine
the
went into a
ambience
taco box
changes,
advertisement.
dramatically.
But now it's back
The whole
to
feel of the ship changes.
an old around the verse
Much more tension.
video.
Well, they're still in the Idris walking around.
Rattling,
Yeah.
and vibrating in different
Are you
ways.
live streaming?
Yeah.
On the stream?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that
Again,
once I get
reflected
home
in hundreds
because
of sound spots
I think I get
across the ship.
home tonight at like 11
That
o'clock
all
at
have
night.
this dynamic character
So I'll probably end up
which,
watching it tomorrow
morphs
after
and
lunch.
changes to reflect
Sounds
the
good.
health of the ship.
Yeah, you can either watch mine or you know go directly to Twitch and go to Star Citizen. But it's harder to find videos on there than it is on YouTube.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
So
it
right
took me
now,
like
let's have a look back on
20
the
minutes to find one video of some
catastrophically
fella.
damaged Idris.
Because like
Yeah.
there's so much. And every time I found it, yeah.
I'm just not a big fan of Twitch.
Yeah, it's. They could do better. But
I think now they're showing off lighting or sound or something.
Yeah, lighting and sound and shadowing, ambient sounds.
Let's take a quick look behind the scenes. So here you can see we've got some emergency fire sprinkler sounds, and there's a particle system right here, and that has a
alright,
sound
guys,
of the
I'm gonna
sprinkler
head off because
associated
we're about
with
to
it.
like
But
leave and
here on the floor is
Yeah,
an
yeah.
auxiliary
start traveling
sound
back home.
that is the sound
I'll
of,
talk to you guys probably tomorrow.
the water drops splashing and hitting other surfaces.
I'll probably
So,
get on it at like 1
you know,
o'clock
there's these
tomorrow
different
afternoon.
dimensions to even simple
So that should be, you know,
ambient sounds such as a fire sprinkler.
thumbs up.
Alright, we'll travel safe.
Alright, thank you. Alright, see you, Mr. E.
Yep.
See you later.
Yeah, bye.
So hopefully that's given you a sense of what we're doing to bring the ship alive, really, and take our immersion to the next level. So yeah, thanks. Thanks for watching.
Hey guys, we are still in the lobby. We
Okay.
hope you can hear us okay because it is loud. This place is crowded. So I want to introduce you guys to a couple guys that I just met. First off,
Trip Rodriguez.
And?
Clifford, a.k.a. Miku.
Awesome, fantastic. Now we can't skip this. We got to touch on this. What are you wearing, my friend?
I'm wearing a costume that I put together originally for the 2014 Star Citizen event in Boston. This is the third event that I've worn it to. It was pieced together out of various different things I found on eBay over a couple months, and then had to do a whole lot of work to make it look like something it isn't. So I had a lot of fun with it. Melted down the goggles with a heat gun and warped them to fit my face and the armor. I used steel spray paint and dry brush technique and then made it look like metal, like the black had been worn away, which did a complete transformation to it.
That is awesome. That is badass. Now, what I want to know from both of you guys, we'll start with you, Clifford. What does Star Citizen mean to you?
It means finally being able to explore the vast universe I've always wanted to explore and find my fortune among the stars.
That's beautiful. And what about you, Trip?
For me, I think it's the same thing as a lot of us. It's the realization of that childhood fantasy of being in Star Wars or in The Last Starfighter. And for me, The Last Starfighter really resonates on Star Citizen because I've been playing space video games since I was, I guess around 10 years old. But this is the first time I'm going to be doing something that's so close to reality that it's the satisfaction of that fantasy, the level of fidelity.
No, that is beautiful. And sorry, it's getting loud in here. It's getting crazy. Let's go ahead and kick things off and send it upstairs to Jared. See you guys.
Thanks, Tyler, and thanks, Trip Rodriguez and Clifford, a.k.a. Miku. We are back live at our CitizenCon 2946 pre-show here at the Avalon Hollywood, and joining me now is our Director of Community Engagement, Online Strategy, and Spaceships, Mr. Benjamin Lesnick. Ben, how you doing, man?
Hello, I'm doing okay. I have a little beef with you, though.
What?
You just interviewed Phil Miller, and you focused on Star Citizen, not Privateer 2.
Yes. Well, I don't have your predilection for all things Wing Commander. You are, without a doubt, the #1 Wing Commander fan in the universe, I suppose. But let's talk about CitizenCon.
All right.
We are here at the 4th annual CitizenCon. You were not only at the first CitizenCon, you were instrumental, along with Sandy Gardner, in the creation of CitizenCon. So why don't you tell us about how CitizenCon came to be?
Well, I should stress that all of the good parts are Sandy.
Absolutely, as is usually the case.
Ever since the very start of our campaign, before we even launched the crowdfunding campaign, she was talking about, oh, we have to do a convention like Blizzard does with BlizzCon, and so she was kind of hitting the CitizenCon drum every single meeting we had that first year. Meanwhile, Pete Mackey, our first hire in Austin, and we just really wanted to show the Wing Commander movie in 35mm at the Alamo Drafthouse, which is this incredible theater downtown Austin. And somehow our desire to get the company to have like a night where we did that meshed with Sandy's want to throw this event for the fans, the backers, and it became the first CitizenCon. So we actually went, it was a 2-part CitizenCon. We kicked off at the Alamo. We did a presentation just like
Boo!
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 They're booing down there. I'm sorry, continue.
You're great. So we had the presentation just like this. We showed the Wing Commander movie, and then we had the fantastic night at this bar, the Hangar Bar, I think, in Austin.
Right. And now the second CitizenCon was actually right here in the Avalon Hollywood.
Right here at the Avalon, yeah, although it seems a lot bigger now.
Does it?
Yeah, I was thinking it seems a lot more, I don't know, open.
I don't know where to go with that. It seems exactly the same size as it was before to me, but maybe, I don't know. So Avalon Hollywood and CitizenCon 2940. I was supposed to say 2944. I'm totally in fiction here today. So the second annual CitizenCon.
It was 44. This is 46.
Yes. So the CitizenCon 2944 was right here in the Avalon. That was where we showed, if I'm remembering correctly, the very first approach to ArtCorp. Was showed at that CitizenCon.
Sounds right. I gotta be honest, a lot of these times I'm so anxious that I'm just backstage, like, nervously hoping it goes well, so I missed the actual presentation.
Yes. No, that's me being up here, not back there. So yeah. So the second annual CitizenCon was right here in LA. Last year's CitizenCon was in Manchester.
I didn't make it out to that one, but it looked like it was an incredible event.
Under a Concorde.
Yeah, they did it in Air Museum. It was a fantastic venue.
Gotcha. And then at that CitizenCon, we showcased our first look at Squadron 42 with the Morrow tour.
All right, it's
like that.
5:30 and they still haven't started.
Can I convince you to spill anything about what we're seeing this year?
I can't spill anything. I mean, you should leave that to Chris Roberts, and I think we're going to see the next evolution of Star Citizen tonight. They've got a demo that it's pretty incredible. I've seen it when it was incredibly broken, and it was pretty incredible. So
yeah,
it's just getting better.
I saw it when we were doing the calibrations, and it was pretty amazing. So Ben, we're going to let you go. We're going to throw it back to another video. I don't know what we got up next, but Thomas Hennessy in the control room. Let's take
Hey,
it
you know
away.
what? You know what we should do? We need to thank the backers because we haven't
Hold on.
mentioned them yet, and they have just been incredible. There's so much energy here that I wish we could get across. Just walking outside and having people come up to you and shake your hand and
absolutely.
tell you how excited they
No,
are.
the last 2 nights of fan meetups. Last night at 33 Taps right across the street, and then the night before that in the Arsenal Law. It is absolutely overwhelming. But yeah, with that, we're going to throw it to the next video, and then we'll come on right back. So guys.
That's not.
Miscue.
That's right. They don't know what they're doing. That's Geo Get Money and Baron Von.
Hey guys, sorry about that. It's a little trouble hearing in here because it is packed. It is getting loud. It's getting crazy. The party continues. The house is packed. We're going to be starting soon. But before, I want to introduce you to a couple guys who you probably already recognize. So first off, who are you?
Hey, I'm Ben Newsbaron. I'm from Dallas.
Geo getting money from Chicago, Illinois.
Awesome. And have you guys been in town did you guys fly in yesterday or when did you guys get here?
A long time for TwitchCon and stayed through here.
Okay.
I've been here since Thursday.
Okay, awesome. And so I got a question for you guys. What does the Star Citizen community mean to you guys?
It's a family of really, really talented individuals who all get along so well.
Just the passion and support that these guys have. You know, after seeing and hanging out with these guys, these are the most lovable group of guys you could be around. They're so supportive and so awesome, and I just love that about this community.
Awesome. Well, I'm happy to have you guys here. I hope you guys enjoy the show. So let's go ahead and kick things to another video. We'll see you guys soon.
So the Dragonfly was basically, you know, a new category of vehicle for Star Citizen. We'd worked with small spaceships, 1-seater, 2-seater, multi-crew. The ships were just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and that was working for the universe. But now with, you know, 3.0 coming up, and us sort of going planet side, and which we've just shown in the demos, Chris really was pushing for a personal vehicle, basically, essentially a space motorcycle, like a space hog. And so with that in mind, the Dragonfly is kind of like the perfect candidate, you know, because it's styling us a little bit, you know, it's a little bit lowbrow, you know, it's quite mechanical, especially, you know, we've just been dealing with the Caterpillar, and so, you know, we work with those requirements and the design team, you know, with their brief that they gave us. You know, they want something small, something that can hover above land, something that also can fly in space, you know, so you can just boot it out of the back of your freelancer. And so this was a lot of fun. So, you know, this was a brand new, you know, again, it was like carte blanche almost. And so this is always what us art guys want and what the concept guys want. And so you'll see today that, you know, through the process, how we've developed it.
This ship was interesting to design first because it's small, it's allowed to go everywhere on ground, on
He didn't
planets,
look like a Gary
and you
Sanchez.
can also go in space with it, so it has different
speaking French.
functionality, contrary to some other ships that are bigger or different. So the Drake manufacturer is also
Just-
interesting because of this kind of low-tech industrial look. So it was also a challenge to try to do something iconic, but with a not too design bike. So it was very interesting to do.
So the Dragonfly was challenging at times purely because there's so many kind of exposed components to it that basically means that the it becomes a lot more kind of expensive as an asset. with a lot of the bigger ships, you can hide components away, whereas with the Dragonfly, everything's exposed. You have to model everything. There's no smoke and mirrors here.
Essentially, when I get given the model from the guys in the art team, my job is essentially to start breaking that down into the separate items such as thrusters and all the general parts of the ship itself, such as the nose, the body, and beginning to break them to make them detachable and add damage effects and things like that. Overall, we begin just by doing like a real rough white box flyable state on it, so we'll just get the model flying before we start breaking it all up. In the Gamescom demo, we essentially showed off the kind of basic setup of the ground mode and also the space flight mode, where we were essentially showing it going off in space, landing inside the Freelancer, going planet side, going out again, and being usable in its ground mode. We have a lot more to add to that, so we're doing further work on the ground mode flight system, just really tweaking it, making sure that it feels spot on when you're riding along the planet. In addition, we also need to set up the rear seat for a rear-facing passenger. So you will essentially have your buddy on the back just running along with you, and we are eventually going to implement them being able to hold a weapon. So while you're in any chase sequences or modes, you're essentially able to have your guy at the back shooting people off who are approaching from behind. And the final thing that we're looking to implement is a third mode that the Dragonfly has, which is a compact mode, where essentially the ship's nacelles retract, and it basically enables you to store it in its smallest possible state on any of your cargo ships.
I went with Harley Davidson for the kickstart sound originally, which was heavily processed, obviously, to just get that kind of, okay, it's a motorbike, but heavily processed. And then it was a matter of finding out essentially what made motorbikes different from cars, spaceships or airplanes. It's the sort of connectedness with the environment, right? You're sort of racing along really near the floor, so the ground rush, particles, rocks, anything like that, that's going to hurt if you hit it hard enough, and the wind rush and stuff. I really wanted to get all of that stuff in there for the Dragonfly, so it was in stark contrast with all the other ships and vehicles we have in the game. The planet side stuff, the in-atmosphere flight, the sort of terrain traversal in wheeled vehicles and hover vehicles like the Dragonfly, I think provide a brilliant contrast between what we're used to, the sort of the space travel aspect, where you've got points of sound, very sharp, contrasty points of sound, very clean in the void. And then on planet side, we've got this much more grounded. When there's an explosion, it's going to echo around in canyons. You feel closer to the ground. You feel much like footsteps, different surfaces, surface types and stuff. You're going to have to feel that through the vehicle, you know. And it just gives I think it's a case of the total is greater than the sum of the parts, really, because the space travel and the planet side stuff, and those two things contrasting with each other, I think, just sort of reinforce each other. So it's kind of picking what we can emphasize, like the ground effect stuff, like echo-y stuff off canyons and
where's his hands?
like
I don't
that,
see his
to give
hands
you a
like on the
sense of
handle.
where you are, and the two things will provide a brilliant, much
Yeah,
enhanced
no, they didn't
experience
show that.
to just space flight, you know.
So I can honestly say the Drake Dragonfly has been my favourite ship to work on so far, just because of adding new things that we've never done before in there. And I'm really looking forward to seeing our backers get their hands on it and do all kinds of crazy stuff while on planets.
I've got one.
Hey everyone, we were about to kick things off, but before we start, I want to stand here and talk with
Ken Shadow.
Awesome. So tell me about what you're wearing. We've seen some cosplay here already today, but this is awesome.
Thanks, man. I modeled the helmet after the medium pirate armor from the game. I used EVA foam to construct it, kind of on top of an armature, and the jacket I put together from some Goodwill parts, and I did an LED matrix on the back. Yep. It's hooked to an Arduino, so it's all programmable and everything, and I'm just super psyched for CitizenCon, man.
No, totally, me too. I'm right here with you, and I think everyone else behind us is excited as well. We're about to kick things off. Is there any last-minute shout-outs you want to give before we send it up to Jared?
So, Guard Frequency podcast. They're my homies, host on there every once in a while, great guys, and I made a card game in the forums, so check it out.
Awesome. Can you put this thing on? That is awesome. All right, we're going to go ahead and kick things up to Jared Huckabee. We hope you guys enjoy CitizenCon 2946.
Thanks, Tyler. Ken Shadow, one of our oldest backers. That's a fantastic outfit, Ken Shadow.
That is cool.
Thanks for showing up with that. We are back with our live CitizenCon 2946 pre-show. I'm Community Manager Jared Huckabee, and with me now is Development Director of Foundry 42 Frankfurt, Mr. Bob Chumley.
Yes,
Bob
yes.
Chumley.
Yes.
How you doing, Bob?
It's great to be here, man.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Good. This is Brian Chambers. Brian, Development Director of Foundry 42.
Yes.
Now, you've been on many of our broadcasts, our weekly Around the Verse, our Reverse the Verse. You even did a 10 for the Chairman, filling in for Chris Roberts once. But we have a lot of new viewers. The viewership of our broadcast tonight is through the roof. Some folks may not know who you are, so why don't you tell us, in broad strokes, who is Brian Chambers, and what does the Development Director of Foundry 42 Frankfurt actually do?
I basically run the show. I run the office in Frankfurt. So we started with a small group. We've built up a team, and I'm basically responsible to make sure that the office is running the way it needs to, development's running the way that it needs to. It touches all facets of development in Frankfurt. We have a large cinematics team, large design, large amount of core engine work, AI work, weapons work, so on. So it's keeps my hand full from, architecting out the space and building out an office to picking colors and flooring to using my 20 years of development experience on a daily basis.
Now, we just expanded the Frankfurt office. I was just out there in August, and you had knocked through a wall, and you were ready to expand. Is that expansion done now?
Just about. I think we're physically moved in there. They had a couple things left to do that were just cosmetic, but it was definitely it's functional. So the expansion, previous to expansion, we had 49 desks. Now it opens up to we could have up to 74 people in there.
Oh,
so,
wow.
yeah, and the head count gets us right about 74. When I map out really what we would like to have the proper coverage across all the disciplines, I say right around. We have a solid plan, but some of the flexibility I work with Aaron in the UK office very closely. And some of those positions, we actually advertise for both UK and Germany.
Right.
And so whenever we can wherever we find the best person for that discipline, we'll hire them there, and then we'll close it out.
Gotcha.
Right. So.
Now, without getting too far into the superstructure of Star Citizen, Cloud Imperium Games is our U.S.-based, development company. Foundry 42 is in Europe with offices in Manchester and in Frankfurt.
Yep.
You say you have the ability to expand up to 74.
I'm going to mute my
and
camera.
we're in the process of expanding not only your office, but the Manchester office, and our Austin office, and the L.A. office. They're moving
disconnect
desks
from the
left and
chat.
right.
I'll be back in
What are
10
some
minutes.
of the things that the Foundry 42
Dinner's
Frankfurt
ready.
office are responsible for? Now, I know a lot of studios,
So I'll be right back.
Their areas of responsibility are quite broad.
Yes,
But what are some of the teams that exist in the Frankfurt office?
Yeah, as far as teams, and when I say responsible, in the terms I say, we may have some of the leads and directors there, but it is really cross-studio development, right? So we have AI team. So we have our lead AI programmer, and we have a small team there, but we also have AI programmers in the UK and also in Austin, right?
Yes.
But when I say we're leading it up, that's where a majority of the team is, and that's where we're trying to push and get the most work done and scheduled. We also have a huge core engine team. They have a tremendous amount of experience working with the current technology that we have. So I think right now we're at about 9 people working on core engine.
Okay.
And that goes from rendering to procedural planet work to tools to animation programming and so on. We own all the cinematics for Squadron 42. So there's about 9-10 people there working on the cinematics. Large design team. Design team, though, they cross, basically they touch a bit of everything, right? From both system design and level design. We have the entire weapons team in Frankfurt, which is total.
Just FPS weapons or ship weapons?
No, it's both FPS and ship.
Okay.
So what am I missing out? But then we also have other small pockets, right? We have a small QA team that's there. We also have an effects artist and technical artist and so on. So we're touching a bit of everything.
Gotcha. Now,
Yep.
you did mention procedural planets.
Yes, I
Anytime
did.
you mention procedural planets, that's a big buzzword lately.
Yeah, I know, I
we,
know, I know.
we just had our Gamescom presentation
Yeah.
where we revealed our second look, actually, at our upcoming procedural planets technology.
Absolutely.
The first look was back at our holiday live stream in 2015.
From the people of the planet. Yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
the people
yeah.
of the planet,
Ugh.
and then Sean Tracy, piloting the Cutlass
Live.
very live and very
Yeah.
nervously.
I was nervous for that too, man.
Well, we were there before the show, and he was rehearsing the landing
Yeah.
because Sean Tracy is a brilliant programmer, engineer,
But yeah,
CryEngine superstar, but not so good at the landing of a Cutlass. He was very nervous, and we rehearsed that. He'd done everything; it was so smooth coming in over, and then he'd get to the landing and just explode over and over again.
Yeah.
So I hope Sean Tracy doesn't mind me.
We were nervous on that people of the planet. We had gotten the tech done. It was still fairly new, though, right? We put it in, and we hadn't, as we say, beaten it up enough, in our opinion, right? I'd want to have it in test hands for a long time to really make sure we worked out everything. So when they say, hey, we're playing it live, at that point, everything had been stable. So we had confidence, but we were still like, oh, are we good? And we were good. And, it's as the evolution has shown then up to Gamescom and so on, I mean, the base is really solid. I'm proud of the team for the efforts and what they've put into the tech. You got Marco Corbetta, Carson Wenzel, whole team there that's been really pushing on that tech. They really know what they're doing, and it truly is some bleeding edge stuff that they're doing. Yeah.
So that was that. So we debuted it at the holiday live stream.
Yep.
We showcased it in a brilliant 50-minute long demonstration.
Yeah.
Not just of the procedural planet tech, but of the entire Star Citizen Alpha 3.0.
Yep.
Tech.
Absolutely.
From the mission system to flying down to the planets. Seamless
planet to
transition
planet.
from planet to planet and stuff like that. When you came on board, how long have you been with the Star Citizen project now?
I started in January of 15.
All right, January 2015.
Yeah.
When you came on board, did you think that we were going to be there? Did you think we were going to be where we're at now so soon with 3.0 approaching so quickly and the procedural planets and all that stuff? Did you think we'd be here already?
No, honestly. To be perfectly honest. I mean, we knew that the procedural work really needed to come in place in order for us to make the expansive universe that this world has, right? We knew it had to. And it was on the roadmap of what to do and when to do it and had its own priority. Its priority, though, was further out. We kind of in the shadows in Frankfurt, kind of hush-hush, and a couple guys, primarily Marco Corbetta, grabbed it and said, hey, I want to do this. And we all supported him, and again, kind of did it on the down low and said, hey, Chris, this is what I've done, look at my progress. And we were all, literally, some of the first I saw was when Hannes had already had the tech in his hands for people to planet. And they're like, hey, watch this. And the planet is this tiny dot on screen, and they're flying, and they're going, and they're going. Literally 10 minutes later, we're like, oh, come on, just get there already, right? But then we just waited another 5 minutes. He's on the planet. And we're like, what? What did we just see? And honestly, that was it. And we just said, okay, cool. This is awesome. Here's the foundation. The rest of the team wrangled behind and started working on atmospheric, started working on water, started working on other bits, right? And even started working on a tool set in unison of then how do we provide artists an efficient way? And yeah.
All right, so I am being told in my headset here
we gotta
that
go.
we have Tyler Witkin with a very special guest standing by. So Tyler Witkin, take it away, buddy.
Hey guys, we are just moments away from the start of CitizenCon 2946. I just ran into this guy. This is
Commander Shepard, 07, guys.
awesome. And so where did you come from to get to CitizenCon today?
Tampa, Florida, flew in on Friday, and yeah, I've been here for 3 days.
Okay, well, fantastic. Glad to have you here. So I got a question for you. What does Star Citizen mean to you?
It really is the same vision that Chris Roberts has. I'm looking forward to it being the best damn space sim ever. So if I get to have that, you're the guy in Star Wars that gets to fly the ship and do the stuff, and that's it. I mean, it's the amazing sci-fi culture that I grew up with, and now I get to be that by playing the game.
No, I totally am with you. That is absolutely beautiful. So before we send you off really quick, do you have any really quick shout-outs?
Real quick shout-outs to Redacted, Test Squadron, Twerk 17, Squadron 42. Can't wait. So shout-out to the MMO.
Awesome. All right, guys, we are about to start. Let's kick it up to Jared. We are happy that you guys are tuned in. Let's do this.
And we're back to the CitizenCon 2046 pre-show here at the Avalon Hollywood in beautiful sunny Southern California. And I am here with Mr. Bug Smasher himself, gameplay programmer Mark Aben. Mark, how you doing, man?
How's it going? Pretty good.
Now, we haven't had you on a live broadcast or even just an interview broadcast in some time because, somebody, got his own show every other Wednesday,
Well,
Bug Smashers.
when the streams are going, I'm usually in the back. Gotta get this working.
Now, you're a gameplay programmer.
Yes.
That's your actual title. Folks in the community know you as a bug smasher. What exactly is it that you do for Star Citizen? It's more than just finding bugs and fixing bugs. That's just the thing that we put on, the Wednesday TV show. But why don't you tell us real quick, what is it that you do for Star Citizen?
What is it that you do here? What do you do here?
This is actually, I meant to say, this is your yearly review, actually.
Oh, okay.
So what do you do for Star Citizen?
In that case, I do everything. No. I do all sorts of things, mostly on the gameplay level. I work with designers. They have some crazy system that they want to get in their head. They know how it works. And then I have to take that and figure out how to get it into game code that will work in real time.
Okay.
My main thing that I'm working on now is the whole Item 2.0 system.
All right, and what can you, for those, again, we have a lot of viewers who have never tuned into Star Citizen before, who are discovering Star Citizen for the first time. What is the Item 2.0 system?
So the Item, so I should go with the original system, Item 1.0. It's basically, we were utilizing Crytek's original item system. It worked for that game. It did all the updates, it did all this stuff that we want to do, but it's very bloated. It won't work in a multi-threaded environment, and it's over complex for what it does. It's also very hard to add new things without a developer spending a lot of time.
Okay.
So with Item 2.0, we said, let's just get rid of that system and let's build our own infrastructure. Something that will work with Star Citizen, something where we could have 30,000 items that are updated only when needed.
Gotcha.
Just, do a batch update where they update here and here, not stall the main thread. We could, the main thread is doing something here, and then we could go update stuff in the background, and you'll still see the same stuff. It's just now you have better FPS.
Gotcha. And it's not just optimization. Item 2.0, it allows us to have crew stations that can talk to each other. Your information seen over here. I mean, Item 2.0 enables all kinds of stuff within the engine.
Well, it's also, like with the old system, you kind of had to build every bit of logic, and if you wanted to use this piece and that part, you'd have to copy and paste it into there, and it's just a headache. So what we've done with Item 2.0 is build everything into these things called components. So we have a component for animation, a component for physics, a component for interactions. So all designers have to do is go, I want physics, I want animation, I want interactions, stick them on this item, and they can determine how it works. So if you want to build like a station, you get the physics and all that stuff. You get maybe the gameplay logic that controls what the station does and how it controls things. And designers literally grab pieces, and then it just works.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So your Bug Smasher show, the episodes are only 20 minutes long. And you show us,
Only.
you're only 20 minutes long. But I mean, it takes a lot longer than 20 minutes to fix a bug.
Oh, we film for like 30, 40 minutes.
Okay, but when you start the film, do you actually have the solution to the bug already in mind? I mean, you're not figuring it out live on camera.
You're
cheating.
Well, these
That's
are
what I'm
bugs
getting at, Mark.
that
You're
are.
cheating.
I cheat because these are bugs that are already been fixed and into the game.
All right.
It's more or less describing the problem and the solution to that. Things to actually fix in real time. They could take 5 minutes. Oh, it's like, I know this is what it is. Or it could take a week, a month, because you don't know what's happening. You could have something that has bad data over here, and you're looking over here, and it's like, what's going on? Why is this getting affected? And then you find it here, and it's like, what? And then, you're trying to piece together, build the logic, and it just gets crazy. But the reason why they call me the Bug Smasher is because in the original release, I had no CryEngine experience. And none when I started on this project.
Okay.
So we had to get like all these things, and things were broken, and I didn't know any of the systems. So I was like, just give me the bug, I will dig in and find it. So I would spend hours figuring out how things would work, and that's how I learned the engine.
and on our dime.
And on, yes.
All right. Well, I think it's worked out. We love having you here.
I love it.
And we love the Bug Smasher show that comes every other Wednesday. So with that, we're gonna let you go, guys. We are still proceeding with our CitizenCon Live pre-show. Folks, things are just getting underway. I'm hitting my ears that we're close. We're getting closer. But right now, we're gonna throw it back down to Tyler Wicken on the show floor with another special guest.
Hey everyone, as you guys can see, it's getting absolutely crazy in here. I hope you guys can even hear me. Everybody is having to find their inner patience because we are about to get started. Before we do, I just ran into this gentleman.
Gray-headed gamer, what's up everybody?
Hey, gray-headed gamer, how are you doing today?
Absolutely fantastic.
Awesome, and so are you in an organization?
Yes, I am. Galactic Callers Guild. Wish you guys could be here, but you're here in spirit.
Yeah, awesome. Is there anything else you want to say to them at all?
Oh man, it's super exciting. I'll post as many pictures as I can, but make sure you guys are ready for a great stream next Saturday.
Awesome, and I understand that you're actually a streamer, yeah?
Yes. Moved from YouTube over to Twitch. CryEngine got a little more difficult as the game progressed, so we stream Saturday nights. Great show. Just get together with the community because that's what it's all about. Give away ships, talk to content creators, and have basically a good time and have a few beers. And
yeah, go ahead. Plug the channel. Where can people find you at?
That would be twitch.tv/grayheadedgamer. Gray with an A, not an E, because we're American.
Awesome.
And Saturday nights, midnight Eastern time, Not So Sober Saturday. Great show.
Awesome, fantastic. So one thing I want to know from you, what does the Star Citizen community mean to you? There's so many people here, finally getting to put faces to so many names. It's absolutely beautiful. What does it mean to you?
Well, I tell you, it's passion. This community is unlike any gaming community I've ever been involved with. You can't go to an event like this and not feel welcome and like a family almost. And that's where I think most of us that do stream, we do it just for the community. We don't do it for ourselves. We don't get sponsored by the company or Twitch or anything. We're doing it because we love the community. Yeah. So it's an absolute joy.
I just want to hug you right now. Can we bring it? Oh, that's
hug
great.
It out, man.
That's great. And so we're gonna go ahead and kick things up to Jared. Guys, everybody here is just as ready as you are. Everybody's excited. Everybody's hyped. Let's kick it up to Jared. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Tyler and Gray-Headed Gamer. Thank you so much. We are back with our live CitizenCon 2946 pre-show with Senior Writer. Hello, Senior Writer.
Why,
Will
hello.
Weisbaum. How you
yes,
doing, man?
It's great to be here. CitizenCon 2946 or 2016 outside of lore.
No, 2946. We are strictly in lore. We're all about the immersion. Come on, man. Come on, it's all about the immersion. so Senior Writer, not just on Star Citizen, but on Squadron 42.
On the entire project.
On the entire project. So what does a Senior Writer do? Like we have a lead writer, that's Dave Haddock.
Yeah.
And we have an associate writer, that's Adam Weezer. What is a Senior Writer?
I'm the delicious cream filling in between those two other
You heard it
writers.
here first. Will Weisbaum, the delicious cream filling.
I work closely with Dave to help fill in all the narrative and lore needs for the... Oh, we got very excitement happening on here. Let's go now live to the... No, that's not...
Don't do that.
So from anywhere from working very closely with the designers and the artists to come up with... I like to think of us as kind of like a triangle of creativity there. Like design has an idea for fun gameplay element, art has a great idea for a cool location, and we have an idea for story. And sometimes it all starts from a different point, but we all come together somewhere in the middle and it works out great.
All right.
Just now on Friday we were having a costume discussion with the art team about what some of the NPCs in 3.0 are going to be wearing, and that was a lot of fun talking about the different planets and how do you go down and what's their feel of them, but also how to make it realistic so that they all shop at the same store kind of thing. Like, it's if you go from LA to New York, there's some differences, but everyone still wears Levi jeans. So kind of thinking about like a global approach that way. So that was a lot of fun. And so stuff like that is happening all the time, and it's one of my favorite parts about being on the project is I never know what I'm going to do day to day.
Gotcha.
So,
Are you involved at all in the quest creation and in writing the lore of the story?
yeah,
of the quests?
definitely. We've been doing a ton of meetings now with the Persistent Universe design team, trying to figure out some more of the missions. It's very exciting here. It almost feels like they're cheering for me.
Yes,
Are they?
Yes, they're cheering for us. They're cheering for us. All right. So you write the missions. I want to pitch you a mission, all right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. The player goes up to a console.
Okay, yeah.
You know, he triggers the console and it says, hey, I've got a mission for you. I've lost my keys. I don't know where my keys are. Could you find my keys? And it says DL. And you accept the mission, and right there on top of the mission terminal are the keys. the thing goes, boop, they're right there. And you just grab the keys, and then you turn it in, you just drop it in a slot. You complete the mission, entire mission, from getting it to fulfilling it to turning it in, all right there at the thing. You find my keys. Can we make that happen?
Yeah, that sounds great. No, that's in.
Right.
I've been pushing to allow you to work as a singing telegram in the universe. You have to have like
Hello,
a birthday.
okay, I'm back. Hello, my honey.
Just have to
Hello,
go
my
somewhere.
dog.
Yeah.
All right. All right. All right. So let's see if we can throw it to Tyler Wicken here. I understand Tyler Wicken's got another guest down on the show floor. Hey, Tyler, take it away. Ow!
Well, so apparently I don't even need to introduce this guy because apparently everybody in the room already knows. DJ, where are you coming from for today?
Coming from Orlando, Florida.
Awesome, fantastic. And I want to know right now, everyone's watching, what does Star Citizen mean to you?
Community. One thing that I've seen since the day I started playing this game is that the community is so together, so respectful, so loving, and so welcoming to everybody that becomes a Star Citizen. Anybody who gets a package, is just that, to me, that makes everything all that much better.
Yeah, no,
because
totally.
every time
Totally, I'm right there with
that
you,
comes
man.
in, everybody is just as welcome as can be. People are so helpful. They're like, all right, do you know how to pull your ship out here? Let me come in, let me help you out. And that, you can't get any better than that, than a community that is so happy to see other people as passionate about this project as we all are. So I'm stoked to be here. Stoked to be here. Feels awesome that anybody even started a chant about my name. That feels amazing. Like,
Dude, the energy in here is real. The energy. You want to test this right now?
Probable. Let's do it.
You want to go ahead, tell them to make some noise for us right now. Let's make some noise. Yeah, show them make some noise. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and kick it straight back up to Jared Huckabee. Thanks, guys.
DJ Knight! DJ Knight! DJ. Oh,
I keep
we're
waiting
live.
for the
We're live.
wrestling match to start.
We're live. All right.
Someone is
So-
going to come off the top rope.
Can we? Can we do that? Can we do that?
It's not
do
too
a
far.
flying elbow off the top rope.
Yeah.
All right, we're back with our CitizenCon 2946 pre-show. We are now here with designer,
Oh
tech
my
designer,
Tech designer.
tech designer, Mr. Calix Renault. Calix, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
I'm really excited for tonight.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I haven't seen Calix in a while.
Me, just me. I'm the only one
Yeah,
who's
no,
feeling
I'm
any
sure you're
emotions
the only person excited
at the
for
moment.
what we got going on tonight.
You know.
Now we've talked a whole bunch of times.
Yeah.
We've talked many times. We go way back.
I actually know your name.
Yeah. What's my name?
Jared?
Close enough. All right. Now you're a tech designer out of our LA office here.
Yes.
For all the new folks who are watching at home, what does a tech designer do as relates to Star Citizen Squadron 42?
Well, design is always tricky because no one really knows what designers do. What it comes down to is that a designer will dream up exactly what you'll do, and then the way you'll do it. So, not only like going back to cargo and grabby hands and missiles and radar, all these things at some point had somebody go, well, what do you want to have happen, right? And then so once you have that basis, you can't stop there because that doesn't make the thing happen. So next, what we do, and the part that is specifically my job is, how does this actually work? How does this tie into the code? How does this tie into the interaction of the player, the communication of the HUD? All those things have to come together or else the thing doesn't actually work.
Yeah.
So the primary way that I do that is by making prototypes. I use Flowgraph and CryEngine to fake it
You
first.
make some very complicated flow graphs. I played with flow graphs in CryEngine when I was a fan, and I thought I had a pretty decent handle on flow graphs. So then I come and I walk by your station, and it's just this intricate spider web of interlocking boxes. I'm like, how do you keep track
My favorite
of that?
is always when I invite a programmer over, because that's the point. I have the thing working. Hey, programmer, come here. I'm going to show you what this does, because you're going to make it actually work. I do it in a contained environment where I have control over every variable, but I'm only trying to say demonstrate the behavior. So when they come over to show, then I show them, and they're like, "How did you do that? I'm pretty sure that's not possible. We didn't make anything that allows you to do that. So what is this? No, really, what is this?" And so I always feel really good when I completely destroy programmers' expectations of what can happen in the game.
All right. So with that, we're going to throw it back to Tyler Wicken on the show floor. He's got another special guest. Tyler, take it away, man.
We are live right now. So I am joined here today with
Fastcard.
Fastcard. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Let me tell you, out of everybody here, I was looking forward to meeting you more than anybody else. I always see you in the streams. I always see you involved in the community. I think it's wonderful. I think a lot of people appreciate all of your friendship.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate them too.
No problem. So I understand you went to a Bar Citizen recently in New York, right?
Yeah, New York last week.
Yeah, do you have any cool stories from that night?
Yeah, we took the train to go to the venue, but the stop that we stopped at didn't have an elevator to get me up.
No, they didn't have an elevator?
No, so it was
just in case you guys don't realize, it's because he's got this awesome ride, and it's not really fair because I wanted one, and they wouldn't give me one.
So they had to carry the cart up the stairs, 3 flights.
They carried this up the stairs?
Yeah, it was like, not like a short flight, like, in a house or something. Yeah. A subway flight.
Oh, wow. Those are huge.
Those are long and huge.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I'm starting to gamble, eat through drunk pack, and yeah.
That's a great group of guys.
Yeah, they got the job done.
No, that's awesome. Did you guys have a fun time at the Bar Citizen?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. And so what I want to know from you is, what does the Star Citizen community mean to you?
It means a lot to me. I mean, I love the community. It's more mature than like other MMOs, and they're so friendly and helpful. If someone needs something, they're on it.
That's beautiful. So we're going to go ahead and shoot things up to Jared. I know I keep saying it, guys, but we are just about to start. Let's kick it up to Jared. Thank you, Fast Cart.
An hour later.
Guys, guess what? That's it. Our pre-show is at an end. We are ready to finally start CitizenCon 2946, our presentation. I'm being told the curtain's about to open. The people are about to take the stage. So for all of us here in the community team.
All right, guys, here it is.
All right, so they're talking to my ear. From everybody here on the community team, from everybody at CIG, Foundry 42, and 4 studios around the world, thank you so much for joining us on our 4th anniversary. That's it. I'm Jared Huckabee. Hope you enjoy the show, everybody.
What is she wearing?
Good afternoon to everyone here. If you're here at the show and you happen to see Nick Elms after the show, please buy him a drink. Good afternoon to everyone online, or good evening, or good morning tomorrow. I think that about covers everybody, seeing as we have everybody across the globe. Thank you all for joining us here, and welcome to CitizenCon 2016. CitizenCon is essentially a celebration of all of you together, essentially all of us, and what a shared group of people with like-minded people can achieve. The seemingly impossible, we make it possible. So here is a video that highlights our journey so far.
More videos. This must be the one that they document, like, how they started all the way down to the end.
My name is Chris Roberts, and I would like to build a universe with you.
Before even the campaign, before even Chris's GDC announcement, he had this idea of like wanting to create a place, because he knew that there was going to be a long time in development from the crowdfunding to the actual release of the game. And so foundationally very early on. Wanted a place for the backers and the fans of Space Sims to be able to get together and talk and share stories about games that they love and talk about stuff. The haven, to find kindred spirits who share the same love.
The Star Citizen community means, pretty much everything to me. That was why I got involved in this project. And it's what energizes me, everyone I work with, I think everyone in the company.
I really always wanted to build a game that sort of put me in one of these worlds and let me adventure, but I wanted it to be in a way that I sort of went around and really felt like I was in the world. And so up until then, that was sort of the things that I sort of felt had been missing from a lot of games.
Chris had this really big vision for a big world, and so while he was still creating that, we were creating the community website, and we were interacting with all of you guys, and it just kept building and building.
The community that Star Citizen has developed over the past 4 years has devoted thousands of hours into making sure that Star Citizen becomes the best game it can possibly be.
It really proves what we can achieve without a publisher.
You've got that brilliant, immediate communication, back and forth.
The backers and the subscribers are with us. They're not in studio with us, but we really feel that they're with us.
And it's been fantastic. It shapes what we're doing every day. People look at it, take note of it, and everybody's opinion matters.
We read the forums, we read the comments, and that feedback is also felt.
Just from them playing, that's giving us a tremendous amount of information.
Just sort of sharing stuff almost daily and getting feedback, and you're riffing off what people are sort of responding to. And I think there's an energy that comes with it. They're waiting for cool stuff from you. Their hopes and dreams are with you, and you kind of want to not let them down.
We just want to make the best game we can. We want to make something which has never been made before, and we're not prepared to compromise that vision.
This is the fourth CitizenCon since we launched in 2012, and it's quite a great opportunity to reflect for a second how far we have come. We started out with 12 people, Chris, Sandy, myself, Ben, and a few other volunteers. After adding Los Angeles and Austin, really ramping it up in 13, we added Manchester in 14, we added Frankfurt in 15, and now we are at 360 developers and support staff in all these locations, all thanks to the community having given us this incredible opportunity. I'm not aware of any other area, whether it's in games or elsewhere, where this has been done and where an organization like this could be built strictly on the basis of this fan and community support, and it's just absolutely great.
We do events with the community all the time. Backers are there, they're hanging out with us. They're telling us how excited they are about what they've just played, how excited they are about work we've just done, how excited they are about work that they've seen partway in development, right? That's all stuff that the team gets energized and pumped up about.
At Gamescom this year, on the show floor in the convention, we had hundreds of thousands of people over the course of the week come and see us, and we were exposed to that, and we had people lining up for 2 hours at times just to play Arena Commander, see what was already playable in the game.
There's people all around the country and the world that I would not have had the luxury of meeting and befriending if it wasn't for Star Citizen.
As I followed the game, as I brought it into my streaming career, and got to meet the community, all of it just kind of kept snowballing.
To me, Star Citizen means freedom. Freedom from publishers, freedom in gameplay, freedom for many to live in an online universe they have been wanting for decades.
Test Squadron, it's a fantastic community, and that really is what this is about. We're just a small slice of the greater Star Citizen community.
Once they started being able to walk around, I think they started to really recognize the possibilities of what was happening.
Star Citizen is a chance to finally get to be an astronaut without having to be good at math.
I decided to try out racing tech. I think it was the Mustang Gamma, and I played one-handed, so I had to use voice tag. And it took me a while to get used to it, but eventually, like by the 5th or 6th lap, I was getting the hang of it, and it was really enjoyable. So I'm really happy that Star Citizen allowed people like me to enjoy the game.
We got into a 20-minute dogfight until he was too damaged, and I ended up chasing this guy to about 3 different comrades before he went to Port Olazar. And since it was a neutral zone, the only way to get the kill, I went blades out and went for the ram.
Actually, took off on a few different ships and flew to the backside of a moon, and it was actually kind of cool seeing the dark side of the moon. But also when we cruised around and we slowly saw the sun just coming across the horizon, and to me that was kind of a really beautiful moment.
typically in development, us devs were locked in a room for building for years, right? Without much visibility, without much feedback on really what we're doing. With Star Citizen, we're so open with the community and forward-facing. They see what we do. To get that feedback from people, to get the appreciation of the work and the effort that we're putting in, that in return drives the team.
They show us the good and the bad in gaming development, and we never really seen that before, and they continue to push the boundaries on gaming.
The freedom with not having a publisher and setting goals and deadlines, it means that we can concentrate on what we think means the most to the fans.
We're always striving to build new tools so that the community can communicate and share their feedback and ideas so that we can incorporate them into the game.
Issue Council is a tool that we created to allow our community to not just submit bugs, but ultimately make Star Citizen better. With the scope and the size of this game, we don't just value the bugs submitted from our backers, we need them. Sometimes they even show up with the Mark Bug Smasher event.
Welcome to Bug Smashers. You ready to smash a bug? Let's get started.
All of us who back this game know that CIG and Chris are doing something special here.
Because the community supports us, we're able to make these excellent shows like Around the Verse.
Welcome to episode 100 of Around the Verse.
Just as a little highlight for you guys, we're going to take a brief look at the Bengal. It's the first ship that Chris revealed for Squadron 42.
There's lore makers, etc., just to show you not just how we're making this game, but kind of dig a little bit more inside of what it takes.
One of our favorite fan video editors, a gentleman named Years100, created the Imagine trailer. He took all of our videos, he cut them together in new and exciting ways. It's one of my favorite ways that the community has influenced not just the development of our game, but the development of our game presentation.
Welcome to the next great starship.
The Next Great Starship was a show that we put together because they actually wanted to get involved and make a ship for Star Citizen. So these great pieces that not only got integrated into our game, but also into our team. We have some of the guys from Next Great Starship are actually on our team today, continuing to push the envelope on every spaceship you see that's in Star Citizen.
Star Citizen is a dream that thousands and thousands of people across the world share.
The most immersive and diverse space game ever created. A game that can change the way we think about gaming in general.
Everyone has given their thoughts, everyone has given their ideas, and everyone is so friendly.
I would like to thank all of you guys, everyone, potential backers, fans, everyone for the incredible amount of support, because we couldn't have done it without you.
I want to thank the community. You have made this job so rewarding. You have made Star Citizen so much better.
When Star Citizen launches properly, like, what we consider a commercial release, we're actually, by the time we get there, we know we're going to have millions of people there excited to play and be part of it. And I think that's a massive benefit of being open and doing what we do.
Star Citizen is and always will be more than a AAA game. So much more. Please raise your hand if you have made at least one heartfelt connection with another human being while being part of this project in any shape or form. Please give up a smile for one memory on Star Citizen that has absolutely made your day.
I am a Star Citizen.
I am a Star Citizen.
I'm a Star Citizen.
I'm a Star Citizen.
I'm a Star Citizen.
We are Star Citizens.
I am a Star Citizen.
And I'm proud to call myself a Star Citizen.
It's an amazing journey that we've been on, and it's only going to continue. That reminds me from last year, and I had a bit of a rough time, and I also had a bit of a rough time this year, and I would personally like to thank, I'm going to cry again, God damn it. I would personally like to thank all of the community, because if it weren't for you all, I don't know how I could do my job. I think I've mentioned this before, but it is the first gaming community that I've ever been a part of. and I'm biased to say that it's the best gaming community ever. Okay. And now my mind's gone completely blank. I would like to give a shout out to Rico for creating barcitizen.sc. I remember earlier in the year, Alexis and I sat around and I said, I really want to, because there's 1,000 people here, but we have hundreds of thousands of fans all over the world in every single country. And so Alexis and I came up with Bar Citizen, and we kind of had to make it select because, we had so many. And Frankfurt, give it up for Frankfurt, they had like 200 and something people respond. So we had to do 3 Bar Citizens. So Rico has created barcitizen.sc. Within 3 weeks, we've already had 27 Bar Citizens around the world. Some of them going on tonight. So if you'd like to attend one of those or host your own so that everybody around the world can hang out together, then check that out. Oh no, okay. Sorry. Oh. In other community news, the referral program that we launched last year, we've actually had 2 fans who have got 1,042 new backers into the game. And both of them receive a Million Mile High Club that they can invite their friends to. The first one, I think we mentioned him last year at the live stream. His name is AlphaCast, and he's from France. And then the other one, Schwimmy, is from the USA. So give it up for those 2. Before I hand over to Chris, I would like to thank all of our volunteers. Where are our volunteers? Can you raise your hands? All of our streamers who have been streaming for the past 3 days, where are you? And then an appreciation for all of our staff who have been working around the clock. Chris, would come home pretty much most nights this week at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'd ask him how it's going. So, yes, exactly. So props to all of our staffs and our contractors from around the world. Your support, and support from all of you fans basically encourages us to keep raising the bar. And so now, without further ado, I would like to introduce Chris Roberts.
So, really, I should applaud you. I mean, we made that video for you guys because that is genuinely the way that everybody at any one of our studios and everyone that is at partners like Behavior or Turbulent feel, because we would not be here, we would not have the opportunity of building the game we are, pushing the boundaries we are without everyone that's in this community, in this room, that's in the community around the world. So, I'm a Star Citizen, and thank you guys so much, because you guys are fucking awesome. I love you guys, and I'm pretty sure everyone else that's working on this game loves you guys. So you are our secret sauce. You are what makes us go. You make it easy to work hard, because there's a massive amount of people out there that love and are excited by what you're doing. And that is, if anyone does anything creative or actually doing anything, that is really important, and you give us that. So thank you so much for that. So as a bit of a reflection, because I look back, sometimes you're so busy working and just what are we doing tomorrow, you don't ever get a chance to go and say, you know what, it's amazing what we've achieved already during 4 years, and what we're going to do in the future is going to be even better. But just I look back on it and I look at that video and I go, this is incredible. I mean, we have such an amazing community. We've built so many. There's so many connections being built. There's a lot of. I mean, people are playing games now. They're streaming now. It's just a fraction of what's going to be in the final game. But I keep like reading stuff online and seeing these YouTube videos and seeing Twitch streams, and I'm going, wow, that looks cool. And I can't believe that all these people like spent an hour trying to find someone stranded on the far side of a moon somewhere or an asteroid field. And generally, like most gaming communities tend to sort of like shoot each other and troll each other. And I know we have a little bit of that in our community, but I think I would say more often than not we have a community that helps each other out, and they help each other play the game, understand the game. I mean, they do a much better. You guys do a much better job than us in terms of actually like educating on how to play the game. We're going to get better at that. But we're busy building sort of some of the core tech and everything. But because of you guys, we've sort of grown. So looking back at it, if you take a look at it here, I mean, this is sort of a timeline we thought it'd be interesting to lay out. Obviously we launched 4 years ago tomorrow, back in October of 2012. I look a little younger there, by the way. It's a little bit like the US presidency, I think. You sort of age a lot as you get into it. And so, obviously we got the money, but then you've got to get the offices and start hiring people. So our first office opened in January of 2013 in Austin, and I think we started with 11 or 12 or 13 people. Then we opened the LA offices in April of that year, where we had, I think, about 5 or 6 people. We managed to get the Hangar module out in 2013, which was actually quite an achievement, considering we were still just opening offices and had a very small number of people. But that was, the Gamescom at 2013, which I think would always be a very special memory for me, because it was our sort of first event with all you guys in person, and it was pretty amazing. But at the end of 2013, we had 48 people, which is a lot less than we have now. Let's see if it moves. I know, Eric. I don't know why it's not moving. Yeah, red one, there you go. Okay. And then we're lucky enough to have my brother and some other key, old friend. I mean, I have Nick Helms, who was working on this presentation, who's our creative director of Foundry 42. So Nick and myself and my brother and Phil Meller all grew up together, and then there's a few other key members of Foundry 42 that are here that we've known for years. We worked on Starlancer together, so, for instance, Derek Sr. and later on Paul Jones, and they're all here around the audience, so get a drink with them later on. But we opened Mansion. We're very lucky to have them come aboard in January, and it was mostly because of your guys' support that I felt comfortable enough to go to my brother, who was, he was at Traveler's Tales making Lego games, doing really well, and they all had very safe, secure jobs in big corporate America. And I said, hey, you want to come do something a bit more risky, but potentially more fun? And they said, well, there's only so many years you can make Lego games. And they were lucky enough to get him aboard. So we worked really hard to get the Arena Commander out that year, which was a combination between the UK team coming on board and the US teams working on it. And by the end of 2014, we had 161 people, so that's a pretty, from 48 to 161 is pretty big. And we got 1.0 out by December of that year, which had a whole bunch of ships, and the like I said, dogfight model was out in the middle of June. And we started to do the first performance capture for Foundry 42 in April of 2015. Let's see if this will bounce now. Oops, hang on. Well, that's the TV screen. It's not advancing for some. What's going on? Here we go. All right, they've advanced it. I think they're advancing it up in the booth, and I'm not advancing it. I don't know why the advance key's not working, but the switch the screen key works for some reason. So anyway, and then in 2015, besides shooting Squadron 42, we got the Frankfurt office, and they've made massive contributions. You are actually going to see a lot of some of the core work they've done. We've got an incredibly talented team there. We have Brian Chambers representing from Frankfurt here. So if you see him with his kind of rocker hair hanging out, he's as cool in person as he looks. We got 2.0 out at the end of last year, which was a huge milestone because that had the 64-bit large world, multi-cruise ships, and a lot of the beginnings of the core tech that's going to power Star Citizen. The end of last year, we had 258 people, again, because of you guys. And interesting enough, Manchester, so our Foundry 42 officers become the biggest and still ends up being. Then of June of this year, we got 2.4 out, which is the first iteration of Star Citizen Alpha that has some level of persistence, and that is just going to increase as we go on. So, your character will keep and keep his items and eventually sort of get wear and tear and grow old and all the rest of the stuff, so that'll be very cool. And we launched 2.5, which had sort of an extra sort of spawning area, Grim Hex, which I hear a lot of people camp out and shoot people when they try to get out of it at the moment, in August. So, you got Outlaw and good guys. All right, let me try to see if this is going to move. Eric, can you advance that? Please. Help me. Save me. There you go. Today we have 363 people, which is an amazing amount. I know. So those are the numbers split between the places. This is all because of you. We are entirely crowdfunded, and it's your guys' enthusiasm and support, and everyone out there that's watching this, and everyone that's backed the game, that are enabling us to basically build this game of definitely my dreams. I think most of the developers working on it, and I'm pretty confident your guys' dreams, in a way that we're unfettered and we're trying to just go for it. I mean, to quote Shia LaBeouf, which I'm, just do it! Anyway, sorry, I saw that video recently when we were getting our CitizenCon stuff and thought it was quite amusing. Yeah, I'll revert. I won't do the rest of this stuff where you get kind of a bit crazy and look around. But anyway, but that's because of you guys. And I think that I said that when I started this. The community is the core of what makes Star Citizen go. It's what makes us special. It's in the DNA from the very, very beginning of the project. You saw in the video, Dave Haddock, who's been with us from the very beginning. Before we even announced Star Citizen and Squadron 42, we started with a website which was basically, hey, if you love space games, you love PC games, at that time, no one was paying any attention to that. No one cared about it. Now, obviously, if you take a look, everyone's doing it. It's trendy now. You're a AAA game. Hell, they're doing a Call of Duty that's set in space. So, it's like we've become mainstream. But back then there wasn't, and we said, it was basically just, I miss this kind of game. I love it. That's the game I used to make, and I sort of felt like, well, that was the whole impetus of Star Citizen, and we started with saying, well, it's about the people. And I look back on it, and I looked at what I saw with WC News and the fact that there was still a community that was passionate about Wing Commander long, long, long after the last real Wing Commander game had sort of come out. I mean, it's
Colin, I haven't missed anything yet.
Sitting at EA, and I was like, I love this stuff. I think other people love this stuff. And
Nothing
we
yet.
started with a site, and we had 30,000 people sign up before we had even announced Star Citizen, and 10,000 on the first day, which was amazing. But the key was that the DNA of the project started with the community, and from day one we've always tried to do that. And I think if you look at where we are and what we're able to do, I think that is 100% due to the community. And so one of segue for that would be here. Oh, that's finally suddenly won, unless Eric's really good at hitting a button when I hit a button. You guys have always been in the community, right? You make what makes it special, and it's a very different way, I think, to make games. And we've always focused on creating tools to do that. So, like even where we couldn't have friends or you getting together necessarily in the game, we created organizations for the website and ways that people can be discussing on forums and chatting and all the rest of the stuff. And it's important to us to have the ability for you to not only interact in the game, but also interact outside the game and create connections. And I think you could see from the video, and I know you guys all have stories. I mean, I'm amazed. I see everyone with their organization. Everyone's got their own organization custom shirt, and they get their own get-togethers, and there's deep lore and history behind a lot of stuff. And I mean, I'm just blown away by it, and I think it's fantastic, and I think it's really key. So for us, it's very important to put the tools in the hands for you guys. So, Eric, I'm pressing a button, make me look good. No, that's not the right one. Right, back. All right, okay. So I guess there's in the I thought I had one more card here, but I don't. You can tell that the PowerPoint crashed. That's why we were a bit late here. We were trying to get this done, and I didn't get to do a proper run through. So I'm going to hand you over because I think I had a lot of questions, say at Gamescom, about what's happening with Organizations 2.0, and there's a lot of different stuff. So we've actually thought about it long and hard, and we sort of decided that even though we'd said we were going to do this thing in typical Star Citizen fashion, we need to do this thing. And we want to make sure that we give you guys tools in such a way that you'll be able to interact and communicate in-game, out-of-game, in a sort of fluid way that is very indicative of today's modern internet age. So I'm going to hand you over to John Erskine, who's our VP of Online Operations and Publishing, and Benoit, who is the Chief Technical Officer of Turbulent, who are amazing. They build our web platform. They're nominated for an award, for the Adobe Cutting Edge Award, and you guys should all vote for them. But I'm going to hand you over to them, and they're going to tell you about what we have in the works for you guys on the community front. Here we go.
Thank you. Well, hey, it's really a thrill to be here with you today. It's exciting to be at another CitizenCon event. We're going to switch over to some other slides here, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we've been doing on the platform side. I'm going to continue with the theme that we've begun here today to talk about engagement and sharing. If we look at the vision that we have on our platform, as Chris mentioned, this is something that's been core to the concept of Star Citizen even before the project was formally announced. We want to share this experience with you, and we want to share content to you, and we want to get feedback from you. And so this idea of connecting with our community and then allowing communities to connect with each other is literally the core of Star Citizen. And I have to tell you personally, it's really amazing to work with someone like Chris who understands this in the core of his DNA, because I have worked at other companies where you'd have to pitch these kinds of ideas to somebody who might be kind of skeptical, really. With Chris, a lot of times it's the other way around. We may sort of come with some ideas and he'll say, well, guys, I don't think you're thinking big enough here. So I'm going to share an example of that with you today. Our goal from the platform is to be able for you to experience the game. You need to be able to do basic things like get the game and buy the game and download the game and patch the game. But we also want you to be able to connect with other people, both inside the game itself, but also in the real world. Because as we look at how technology has moved today, there's less of a distinction between the virtual world and the real world, and every day those walls are coming down further and further. So that's really a core vision that we have on the platform. So we've had the opportunity already to build some really cool and revolutionary tools on our platform, and we've shared them with the community of Star Citizen. We have some traditional things like forums. Forums have been around for a long time. We've been able to build some things that we believe advance traditional things, like, most online games have some sort of guild and grouping system, and we have our organization system. I think it's unique that we released the organization system so early in the development process, and people were able to create organizations almost 3 years ago, I believe, maybe 2.5 years ago. And I have some stats on the next slide, but we have an amazing number of people and an amazing number of organizations already. We've been able to build things like the community hub, so it's easy to share content on our site. We've been able to do things in the game, like having the rental system and being able to use your UEC to do things in the game. And we've been able to do some things that are really unique, like the issue council, where people are able to actually actively participate in the process of reporting bugs and verifying bugs and prioritizing bugs and doing all that. And I know from talking with other developers, they're very jealous of the system because, first of all, they don't have the technical piece, and second, most people don't have fans who care enough to actually be that involved. So I think that's a very revolutionary tool that we've already built. So thank you for your involvement there. We had some stats in the video, but I'll come back to a couple of these to talk about engagement. You know, on our forums today, which are pretty traditional forums, we've had almost 500,000 unique threads. We've had 7 million people actually write a comment to those threads, and 300 million views of those threads. Those are incredible numbers. It's a huge community, and it's a huge amount of engagement. And in the organization system, as you can see, we have more than 40,000, or almost more than 40,000 organizations today, which is staggering. And almost 200,000 unique people are members of organizations, and many people are members of more than one organization. So it's very, very interesting, and it's a very, very, very powerful message that people are incredibly engaged in the tools that we've built. So, you know, last year at CitizenCon, we announced and launched the star map, which was, yeah, super cool. And like I said, that was a good example of how we sort of gave people an opportunity to vote on things that they thought were the biggest priority. And we had some ideas about what we wanted to build. And star map wasn't necessarily at the top of our list, but it was at the top of your list. And so we changed some of our priorities around and we came up with a plan, and then we found out that we weren't thinking big enough. So we made something that's very, very revolutionary to be able to have such an amazing tool on the web to explore the game universe in such visual fidelity. And so after we launched the star map, Benoit and I started looking more at our roadmap and our priorities to decide what we should do next. And we had some ideas about an evolutionary advancement to some of the systems that we have today. And in January, we presented some of our plans to Chris. We really liked the plans, and we talked about it more with Chris, and he said, well, I don't think you're thinking nearly big enough. And so we went away, and we sort of digested this feedback, and Benoit and I started to think, well, with this much blank canvas, what would we do? And so I'm thrilled to turn it over to Benoit today, and he's going to tell you what we've been working on since the second pitch to Chris.
Hello. This is the second time Chris does this to me, and I need to come in front of you guys to show you what we're working on. I'm pretty excited to be able to show you what we came up with based on you're not thinking big enough statement. And so when we presented Orgs 2.1 to Chris, which was basically a new forum system for your guild, we quickly saw that the feature set that we needed to be way bigger than just a traditional forum engine. Also, we didn't want to just build a forum engine for the sake of it, which is, you know, it's still a pretty old medium. So we wanted to basically start reinventing that. You can switch. And so we came up with Spectrum. The name was coined just as naturally as that because we felt that it represented the that it was already in the lore, and so it was the perfect way to sort of name this tool. And so what Spectrum is a real-time web application that offers all community communications in Star Citizen. So that's the high level. Now, to present it, I need to deepen into it. Now, this is the result of almost a year of work and labor of love from the Turbulent team, who's been iterating and iterating on that, looking at what's already there, and this is what we came up with. And so it's modeled after contemporary communication platforms. I'm sure you guys use many of those. And so we did not start to reinvent things from the ground up. We really took something and tried to make it as usable as possible based on what existed. We used modern technologies to build it. That means we did not go the classic route of building an application in a low-level language. We went with web technologies that can now be on the desktop, that can allow for rapid development, which was already a groundbreaking moment to be able to change the stack and go faster. And then when we pitched the idea, it came really quickly that this tool could become also solve a major problem in the game, which was how do we differentiate between in fiction and out of fiction? We want to bring you guys, like your friends at work, you want to be able to talk to him. How do we differentiate between that and somebody who's actually in the game? And so Spectrum becomes the natural conduit for that. Now, focus on usability. It's the in-game UIs will always be focused on being diegetic and super sci-fi-ish. Now, in order to make the real world stuff really works, then we need something that's more usable, material design, and it needs to focus on that first, and community. And that was the sticking point, is that since the beginning, the vision from Chris was always that you don't need to run your guild off-site. You don't need to run your organization off-site and use off-site tool. We can offer all of these tools in the platform, and so you can just hit the ground running. And so we want you to be able to have your home in the Spectrum as your organization and be able to customize it.
Well, let's see if it's strong enough.
And so the first part of the module is, of course, chat. And so if we're going to hit chat running, we're not going to build a standard chat like we did a few years ago for the live chat module. We need a rich chat. We need an application that's real time. We need a chat where you can embed medias from external sites or from RSI sources. We need you to be able to react to comments and words that are being written by your friends or by your coworkers or anybody you're playing a game with. And so just on the chat level, we really wanted to get something that was modern and usable. Now, in terms of forum engine, we needed forums. We knew we needed that. We didn't want to abandon this medium, which was so crucial to building this community. And so, but we wanted to modernize it. And so, in the same application, we're going to bring you guys some brand new forums. Now, what you're looking at now, and I'll show you a bit later, is the light team. And this is part of why we wanted to focus on usability first, because if we make everything dark, it's really difficult to use and it gets a strain on people using it. So there is an option to keep it light, and that's what I'm showing here. And so the forum engine is also real time. When new threads come up, you're going to see notifications come in. It's a brand modern take on this, on how forums can be rapid and fast and not the old school model that we've had. Now, to go further than that, we need more types of discussions in forum. We need to be able to have Q&As. We need to be able to have live threads on live topics that are happening now. And of course, classic threads, which will just, stay there forever. And so what is Spectrum? Well, first, it's private messaging and chat and forums. And so we needed to solve private messaging because I'm sure you guys have used the private messaging on the forums currently. Everybody's pretty much in agreement there. We need a private messaging solution. And so Spectrum implements that. We needed presence. And so to be able to tell online if your friends are in the game or even just in Spectrum, so we needed to be able to have presence displayed on there. Notifications and alert. So if you're watching a thread, you wrote a thread, somebody mentions, you need to be able to know about that. That encourages this flow of information across the board. And so notifications were core to that. Of course, all of these features, they're awesome, but they need to be sandboxed. And so for each of your orgs in Spectrum, you will have access to all those features. And so as you build up your organization, you'll have access directly to features to build your own chat lobbies, your own forums, your own notifications based on that. And so you'll be able to switch context, create a group with your friends, access it in there, create a lobby, and boom, hit the ground running. And so what is Spectrum? Well, it's all of these things. It's real time, it's modern chat, modern forums, it's private group messaging, online presence, notifications and alerts, and namespaces. And this is the core of what this new app is. It's also voice, because we need to have voice transmission. And so you can advance more. And so on the voice part, we needed to be able to carry voice outside of the game, because as everybody knows and you have experience playing games, you want voice to be carried by an external program and not by the game client, because when the game client has an issue, well, you need to be able to talk to your friends and say, I'm rebooting the game. And so Spectrum is going to be your lifeline for that. But of course, Chris wasn't going to settle with that. We can't have non-spatialized voice in Star Citizen, and so Spectrum will be able to send voice datagrams to the game and have it be spatialized and treated inside the game for additional treatment and immersion. And so that's going to be the ultimate goal. And so when you put all these pieces together, you get an interface that looks a bit like this. You've got your top-notch sidebar, party system, voice channels, voice chat, and notifications all into one. And so this is what the dark team looks like. We can switch to the light team in a pinch. And so you'll be able to swap back and forth whenever you want. And so that's the baseline of the interface. You can see that we've kept it really, we use modern stuff, and that shows through the technology we're using. Now, of course, this needs to go everywhere. So it's a web app, it's a desktop application, and like Chris likes to say, Spectrum is the launcher. And it's also going to be available on mobile and tablets, because you need to be able to keep up with your friends when they're in the game and you're at work.
And we just switched to Discord.
Now, in terms of game integration, this platform is similar to other platforms that exist. The advantage that we have is that we can go deeper with game integration. Spatialized voice is one example, but there's more examples to that. Friends and contact will be standardized in Spectrum, so you can manipulate them from there. We can have rich game presence. That means you're not just online, you're on Port Olisar. That's a big difference. So you'll be able to see statuses from the game straight in the Spectrum UI. Party management is where we ultimately want to be able to get, so that during the day you're planning out a game session, you create your party inside the Spectrum, get your friends in, you've got your chat lobbies, your voice lobbies already set up for your party. When you get to your house at night to play, you just, boom, join the party, it's already created and it's ready to go. And so, location-aware lobbies will allow us to basically have, voice lobbies and chat lobbies that are based on in-game locations. So just by being in a location, we'll create this dynamic lobby and you'll be able to use it. You can see Spectrum as the real-world arm to the universe that Chris is building. And so when game events occur and you need to be notified on your mobile or whatever, Spectrum will be the transmission for those, and so you'll be able to receive them this way. There's going to be also, Spectrum will be available inside an overlay on the game, so you'll be able to see who's talking, voice, change your voice channels, open the full Spectrum UI, and chat with your friends directly from the game. And so it really becomes the in and out universe communication bridge for the game. And so now this was cool. I showed you some screens, talked a bit about it, but I'd like to show you where we're at. We're not ready to ship just yet, but I can demo the interface that we have on our development environment that we call Future, because we're hipsters like that. And it's all generated with text from Alice in Wonderland, because it's our test generator, generates forum threads and channels and all that stuff. But I can just show you a bit where we are and where we're going to be there in a few weeks, I hope. One, two. Okay. So this, what I'm showing off here is just a live super dev interface for Spectrum. And so right now I'm logged in as me. I've got access to chat lobbies. Now hopefully the internet is still up on this Mac and I can still reach it. Yes. All right. And so this is live chat. Now, I only have the light theme on this version, but for every chat lobbies that I can visit, I can bookmark them directly in the left bar. The left bar will be the way you can track all types of content, whether it's a lobby, whether it's a thread. So in this case, I'm looking at a chat lobby. I can have rich embeds in it. I can have different user interfaces. I can send private messages straight from this interface directly. I can react. Now, you can imagine that right now we only have these default icons, but we're going to have some cool icons coming up. And obviously, as part of the customization that we plan, you guys will be able to upload your own sheets of emojis and emoticons and change your own upvote icons to customize. And so I can, from this lobby, this is pretty cool. I can jump to my Planet Express org, and then there you go, I'm inside it. The key here is that the left sidebar allows me to balance between RSI community items, like the recruitment chat, for example, or the general forums of my org. And so I just need to bookmark them on the left, and that's it. I get access to them. Now, going down to these threads, I can just jump to any thread, really. And then this is the forum engine. It's a lot more modern. It's way faster too because it's real time. So when new reply comes up, I get a notifications for it. I can upvote. I can react on any of those. But also, what's pretty cool is that we've flattened the list into a single list. So there's no more paging, going from page to page. Just scroll down the list. And one thing that's pretty cool is if we look at Leon Jacoby here, who's answered Mr. Carey, I can mouse over it and I see his reply. And then, oh, what did he say? I can click on it, I can just jump straight to it and navigate inside the thread dynamically this way, giving us a lot more control. In terms of editing features, when you reply or comment on any of those replies, like I can just jump here, this is a bar that's directly within. I can keep on browsing while I'm editing. The editing feature is based on blocks, and so I can add different blocks, move them around, and compose my own. And so this is pretty cool because it's not just text and markdown, funky markdown. I can actually insert the blocks and move them and publish. And of course, when I do publish, if I was watching the thread, then I will get, oops, sorry about that, I will get a notification for it directly. And so the notification panel becomes my follow button, and so I can just follow that. I can also bookmark a thread, and so then it shows up in my left bar. So you can imagine, big Katamari going out, and I want to follow that. I just put notifications on, bookmark it, and then it'll actually show up on the left and light up when new replies are coming in. Private messaging, of course, I was chatting with John earlier, so I was right here. I can actually check this out, and then I'm right in there. Get my notifications for my private messaging and settings. And so this is the state of Spectrum right now. This is where we're going. We're a few weeks out from this first release, which will already allow you to create chat lobbies and forums and full control over that. And then if I can jump back to the presentation, right over here, here's what we're thinking about. Okay, so this soon trademark in this case is pretty close. We're thinking before the end of the year, we want to have this first release out because we want this in your hands so you can tell us what you like or dislike about it. And that's typical Star Citizen. We need your feedback to be able to compile what we like about the interface that we thought for you guys and the other one, and if it's good or not. So in this software release, so it's browser only, but it's going to have forums and chat, notifications, private messaging, and friends. One thing that I did not show, I can just jump back, is search. So search is one thing that we wanted to have directly embedded in it, and so all your communities will be searchable right away. And so you'll be able to jump to threads or chats that have been logged. That's one thing I want to say to moderators, community moderators that are looking at me right now going like, ah! It's all logged and searchable. Public channels are. All the org stuff is yours. And so in the next update after that is we want to hook it up directly with the game presence so you can already see when your friends are playing the game. And that will create the first bridge with the game so that everything is connected. And the customization options I named, like being able to add your custom emojis, your custom upvote buttons, that'll be in that second release. And then after that, we're moving to a 6 to 8 week cycle for all of the remaining functions. So launcher, in-game overlay, voice support, and mobile. And so we're going to be working on Spectrum quite a bit. And this is only the beginning because, as you can see, you can already imagine how we can bring down the organization system management in it or add more features to it. And so this is going to become a really important tool that you'll have. Since you'll have the installer and you'll have the launcher, you'll have Spectrum installed. And so that's it. That's what I want to show you guys.
I really was hoping we'd have more, like, organizational. Localized communications would be really, really cool. I walk into a room and I say hi. In game, my character says hi. Okay, what's this?
1 year ago, our lives were shattered. But we have not forgotten. United in the face of the Vandal threat, we have dedicated ourselves to creating the universe we have always wanted. A safe and secure UEE for all. Thanks to your continued support in the sale of war bonds, the UEE is proud to announce the Militia Mobilization Initiative, authorizing the sale of certain military-grade ships to ensure that civilian militias are properly equipped to defend the Empire in times of need. We will ensure a brighter future for our children. At the forefront of that effort is RSI's newest ship, the Polaris. Combining devastating firepower and searing speed, the Polaris-class corvette is effective against a wide variety of aggressors and scenarios. From delivering humanitarian aid to tactical operations, the Polaris's ability will make it an essential part of any fleet for years to come. But the Polaris is only the tip of the spear for this grand initiative. A full line of other ships are now available for a limited time. And to support faster mobilization and operational effectiveness, fleet formations are being offered in discounted, pre-designed ship teams. So stand in solidarity with the brave men and women who put their lives on the line, and join them in protecting the dream that is the UEE. Answer the call today.
All right.
So anyway,
Sounded a little,
actually you probably already know because it's been on Reddit.
Starship Troopers.
We sort of released the RSI Polaris Corvette, and I think yesterday was the best day we ever had in Star Citizen. And I mean, the one thing I do want to say though, because I know this sort of sometimes there's a bit of debate and controversy, it is no one needs to get a big fancy spaceship or anything else. If you spend $40 or $45 and do it, that's all you need. But the way I look at it is, getting a Corvette or whatever, a Constellation, is really just supporting development. I mean, that's kind of the way it looks like. And so for me, it should only be if someone's saying, you know what, I really like what these guys are doing. I want to support it. I love the process, and I'm there, and they're giving me a cool ship in the process. That's the way it should be. Nothing more, nothing less.
That's right.
Because you will absolutely be able to earn everything in-game playing, right? Just saying. But it is a cool ship, anyway. Just let you know. And you go. So we'll get off that. But thank you for everyone that's bought a Corvette, because it's what makes us go. It's what allows us to build the things that we're doing. And thank you to anyone that supported it, whether you've gotten a tiny little thing or a really big thing. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm going to click. There we go. Look at that. So we're going to give you, I'm going to go through a bit boring update stuff now, and then we're going to show you some cool stuff. So first, Squadron 42, sort of tell you kind of where we're at on it. Squadron 42, like other things, like we just showed you Spectrum. And by the way, the one thing, just to segue back to where we were on that Benoit and John didn't mention is that the goal when we deliver Spectrum for the first time is also delivering the next generation launcher, which has the new patcher, which will not be downloading gigs of data all the time whenever we do a small thing. Which I think would help people out. I mean, if you got fast internet, maybe it's not such a big deal, but with data caps and all the rest of stuff, and it's also frustrating even for us when we're patching on the dev side. It's like you change one file and suddenly there's at least 2 gigabytes. So the new system's really exponentially better. It will only be bringing down the things that change. So we're working hard to deliver the Spectrum and the new patcher for you before the end of the year. So I'm not going to give you any specific dates because I get shot when I do that. But our platform team's much more reliable than me. As I'm an optimist, you have to be an optimist in this business. So anyway, speaking of optimistic, Squadron 42, it's significantly grown from when it was first pitched in 2012. So to sort of get you where we're landing at, because we're content and sort of feature locked now, we have what we call chapters, which is chapters in the story. There's 28 of them in Squadron 42 Episode 1, which is equivalent to probably about 60 plus missions. Most of our chapters are multi-part, so if you compare it to a Wing Commander mission, they're usually 2 to 3 missions in length. So there's flying around, down on foot, or talking to people, all sorts of stuff. Obviously it has an A-list cast that you all know about. There's a few people we haven't told you about that will be a surprise that we will unveil later on, because we have some other people that are part of it, which is pretty cool. We have 340 speaking roles in it, which is insane because most movies have maybe 30 or 40 speaking roles. And state-of-the-art facial scanning and mocap. We showed a little bit. I added 10 for the chairman. We talked a bit about that, and we're really making great strides on that. And the goal is to be as good or better than anything else you've seen out there. Of over 20 hours of performance capture, which is not a small amount, and it gives you an idea of the play amount you're going to get when you've got that much of sort of people talking to you as well as action stuff. Dave and Will, who are, I think, here in this. Where are you, Dave and Will? Hands up. Over there. Okay. Incredibly talented. Wrote 1,255 pages and have been steadfastly there with me last year and this year shooting. And I have to say, they're absolute rock stars. I think we only just finished writing all the stuff for Squadron 42 earlier this year when we were doing the final shoot, which we did earlier this year. But it's, I think, a really fantastic story, so I can't wait for you guys to actually experience it and play it. We have 40 distinct ships from fighters to dreadnoughts. There's a lot that you guys, there's Van Doel stuff and some other stuff that's in there. You've seen some of the stuff, you haven't seen some of the other stuff. We have some really beautiful handcrafted environments built by the environment team that we have, enhanced with some of the new procedural tech. So one of the things we've been doing is some of the new developments we've been doing on the Star Citizen front, we've been bringing back into Squadron 42 to expand the gameplay. I'm sorry, we just want to make the best game we can, and if we got stuff there, we're going to use it. So I shouldn't really apologize for that. Just do it! We're really working for like systemic space and FPS gameplay. So it's not. So the idea is you do not just go one play path. It's not one scripted play path. You can approach different missions different ways. So do you want to go the back door, stealth it? Do you want to go kick the front door down and guns blazing? So we're building that, and the systems are all built systemically, and it is some of the same systems that we're going to be doing in the Star Citizen. We're going to, we're always going to have dogfighting in space, but now we're going to have dogfighting in planetary atmosphere, which is kind of big deal. We have the new tech, which I'm going to be showing you a little later on here. And we have Subsumption, which is fully systemic AI, sort of the next generation stuff, created by the genius mind of Tony Zurvek, wherever he is. I don't know, he's hiding out somewhere here. And the big AI team behind it, led by Francesco Riccucci and his guys that are implementing most of it, and the designers that are doing it. But it's going to allow for, being, say, on whatever ship you're serving on, say the Idris or a Bengal, and the crew's going about their day, having schedules, doing lots of different things, fixing things. It's very cool. All right. I'll demonstrate clicking. There you go. I'm just pretending to click, and they actually do it back there. So as an update, most of our technology is now done.
Okay.
We have some key things still left. So Subsumption is still the major one that we're doing, just because it's this whole new thing that we're doing, and we need to continue to work on the pathfinding, because it's not just pathfinding like you would in traditionally game. We have these different moving ships. So like, for instance, the Idris is moving around in space while people are moving around inside it, which is a challenge that you don't normally get in most games. And it has to work. Animation integration. So we spent all this time capturing these actors at a huge amount of fidelity, and we want to make sure that the fluidity of the animation going between actions and everything doesn't feel sort of like the typical AI, which is like this, and then it then does that, right? So that definitely takes time. Improved combat logic in terms of the AI sort of working together and stuff. Integrating sort of, we had sort of an older mission system which was more traditional, the old CryEngine Crisis way, but since we've gone more systemic and we've got Subsumption, we're building another layer on top of Subsumption to be able to do an extra level of systemic sort of missions, which you'll see in Squadron 42, but then that's actually the engine that powers what we're doing in Star Citizen that's even more flexible, and enhanced flight AI to sort of make them fly together as wingmen better, which is kind of sort of a bit about the improved combat logic. So those are all sort of things we're working on. So AI is a big thing that we really want to push to make the experience good. Object container streaming, I did object containers back in GamersCon. It's sort of how we can travel around these big star systems and bring in like really dense areas of information, objects, and then get them out. Because we can't, even if you've got a machine with a lot of memory, you can't keep it all in, you can't keep the video memory all in, so you've got to stream it in and out. And so that's the sort of technical challenge, and then we want to do some CPU and GPU optimizations. Click forward, please, there you go. So right now where we're at in Squadron 42 is all the chapters and gameplay features are at gray box or better. So gray box is when we've had everything blocked out, all the actions done, we've sort of balanced it for what we think will be fun or not, but it doesn't have sort of the final assets, the final polish, and things like the AI that I was talking about. We are currently taking one of the chapters of the story all the way to what we would consider final shipping quality. The idea would be to flush out all the technical integration and polish issues you would get with that. And that was actually, I gave an interview, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, probably spoke too soon, and it's saying, we were hoping to show you a Squadron 42 mission, and we're not quite there yet. So we got very close. The team worked really hard, but we don't want to show it until we say, this is what it's going to be like in the final game with all the polish. And for our standpoint, we don't want to show something too early on Squadron 42. We want to show the final stuff. So I know that's a bit of a bummer, but it's important because I think Squadron 42 is going to be a fantastic experience. But there is, work in progress. Star Citizen, yes, I think work in progress on Squadron 42. I don't really want to do because I am accused of being a bit of a perfectionist, but it does need to be a great experience. And well, I'm hopefully gonna show you something that will make you forget what I just said. So we'll see. Maybe not, but then you can just buy me lots. You can buy me lots of drinks afterwards, or I'll drink lots of alcohol or do something. But one of the keys is that and I think Aaron said it in the video, and I feel that way. Is we want to do it right. It's really important to do it right. What we're enabled to do by you guys is to do it right, because if we were in a typical situation with a publisher, they would say, well, no, you've got to make the Christmas window, get it out, and da-da-da, and then you can patch it with some you can do some patches, and then the DLC, and don't worry about the people won't think it's quite as polished or whatever, and it's got a bunch of bugs. And no, that's I don't think everyone, because everybody's, this is what you guys, it's what I want. I've spent all this time. You guys have obviously spent a vast amount of time supporting and being there, and let's make it right. Like, why spend? Yeah. Because you remember, I mean, look, I got to tell you, I was, there's quite a lot of things that, like, I was like looking forward to Uncharted 4, and they're like, oh no, it's gonna be February, and I was like, oh damn it. And then I played it, and I didn't give a shit that I was playing in like whatever it was, March instead of back in November, because it was a fucking great game. And so, sorry, pardon my French. So that's really important for us. So that's my long-winded way of saying that as much as we wanted to have Squadron 42 for this year, is not going to be this year, because from the polish we need to do, it still needs a bit more time. But we will be showing you this final, this mission polish level in the near future. So, and I'm hoping that will be before the end of this year, but I'm not going to promise that because I get shot by people when I say that. Okay, so that's Squadron 42. Let me move on. Bam, here we go. So 2.6 is the next thing we're doing, which has Star Marine, which is obviously a big thing, and Arena Commander updating. There's some of these things that we'll be talking about in the future sides. We have new features for Star Marine. We're doing stuff for Arena Commander. We're adding more stuff for the Crusader map. We're refactoring the lobby and the leaderboards, which we talked about on a recent ATV episode. And also we also talked about the flight model, which we're also doing. And right now, the Avocatai, I know we say it bad or wrong. What do we say? Avocados? Should I just say avocados? All right. There you go. Avocados they have a version of it built on the 2.5 release, giving some feedback, and we're listening to that, and that's kind of what the power and the beauty of this community is to do. So it's going to have the new music logic system in, which is actually pretty cool because it's a dynamic music system. That's back in the old days of Wing Commander, we had a very more rudimentary version of that. And I think music creates a fair amount of emotion and gets you into the immersion and the mode and the action that you're doing. And so I think that's actually going to be a very subtle thing that will make things better. We have a sort of new camera. We've been working on the camera system for 2.6. I think that's important. I mean, I keep watching all the videos you guys do, and I'm like, okay, let's give them better tools, and because you guys make awesome videos. I mean, a lot of times we're looking at videos where we're developing going, wow, that looks awesome. Did you see this? Did you see what they did? That's great. So we're going to have that in there. And one big thing what we're working on is to stop the chain loading of screens. So like you play a Arena Commander or a Star Marine game, you go back to a loading screen, do the lobby, and load again. So the idea is we won't do that. We're just going to go in there, and then there's no loading back and forth levels or anything. It's all just going to stay. You're going to go in once and there. So hopefully you'll be able to have more frequent games. So the focus for 2.6 for Arena Commander and Star Marine is to make it a really kind of fun, easy way to get in and just fly around in space and dogfight, or run around on the ground and get into sort of FPS combat, and make that sort of as polished as possible. So here we go.
So far, I'm not impressed by the engine.
So Arena Commander, did I miss Star Marine? Hang on a second. Nope. There we go. So we're going to have this new virtual ship. We showed it on the ATV. So instead of like having to go to the hangar to set your ship up, in the lobby screen you can click on your ship and you can do your loadout and equip your rec items, which will make things much better and faster. We're gonna have a new pirate swarm mode in addition to the Vandal swarm. Missiles will be persistent, so you can't just like, oh, I fire all my missiles and I crash into an asteroid to respawn with more missiles, which I think, I'm not saying everyone does it, but there's a few people that do that. We'll have sort of reloads and stuff that will help in the kind of gameplay, just to sort of make it a fun, combat experience. We'll have a scoring rebalance, and I think pretty much most of the ships you can fly normally in Crusader, you'll be able to fly in private matches. All right, here we go on to the next. I swear. There we go. All right, Star Marine. There's going to be two maps you'll fight on. There'll be Station Damien, which is a smaller space station. It'll be a 4x4 map, and then there's going to be sort of a bigger sort of asteroid base, which is a 12v12, which we call Echo 11. There'll be 2 game modes. There'll be deathmatch and control, so control of areas. So you fight for control as teams. We have new armor, weapons, grenades, tactical visor, friendly player ID, which helps sometimes shoot your friends instead of your eyes. You'll be able to loot, so like you shoot someone, you can take weapons from them or ammunition from them. And we'll have achievements and ribbons. So it'll be both Arena Commander and Star Marine are having a lot of focus to sort of make the experience of just straight up sort of arena shooting, whether it's in space or on foot, sort of fun, quick, easy to get into, much better than what we've had to date. And I think that's kind of important so people can sort of have fun and play while we're working on this bigger epic. There we go. And so I'm just going to walk you through, before we get to the fun stuff, kind of our roadmap. Obviously, we talked about 3.0 back in Gamescom, which is sort of the first kind of, you would consider, yeah, that's, I wouldn't say it's what Star Citizen the final game is going to be, but a lot of games, if they had those features, they would be very happy, which is, going to have trading, cargo, piracy, smuggling, mercenary, bounty hunter, which we talked about. We're going to try to, get the Stanton system in there fleshed out. It's going to be using the Planet V2 technology, which I am going to show you very shortly after I've gone through these slides, which I think you guys are going to like. And in 3.0 we'll have we'll have things like the rover and the dragonfly, who you saw a little bit of at Gamescom, Caterpillar, the Aquila, which you may or may not see here in a bit. Okay, so, and I want to give you a bit of roadmap after 3.0, so you know what we're doing. I guess there's a lot of miners here, or refiners. So 3.1, and just also, by the way, in case you haven't noticed it, I know last year we said, well, we're going to do a release, we're going to try to do a release every month. After going through this year, we've sort of realized that that's a very hard cadence to do, because by the time you get new content in and you start testing it and get feedback, it's almost impossible to get a significant amount of content to test and do the feedback. So I would say that our cadence on releases, which is what you've seen in the last few releases, is probably going to be something like 2 to 3 months between releases. So just to give expectations, because I don't want to go through 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, and 3.4, and everyone goes, okay, we're going to get that in 4 months. Because again, we'll get shot by everyone on the development side. But anyway, so 3.1 is going to have mining, we're going to have refining and processing, we're going to have quantum interdiction.
Oh, he's talking about what's past 3.0.
Wait and pull people out of quantum travel, whether it's AI or you're doing it yourself, refueling, escort.
Additional solar
We're going to add additional locations to Stanton.
Okay.
And we're going to have the new Drake ships. Well, we already have the red and blue, but in the new way we do ships. The Miss Cull Sea for trading, the Prospector for mining, and the Origin 85X, which was this kind of cool cruiser that was with the 890 jump. And if you already have an 890 jump, of course you will get that already. The next one up would be 3.2 with repair and salvage. So we'll be able to salvage and repair. So
3.2 is going to be like in
mercenary,
June.
because we have some mercenary stuff that will be in 3.0, and we'll be sort of fleshing all these out.
He said about 3 months.
Adding more locations in Stanton and fleshing it out further. Finishing out the RSI ships in the new way, Terrapin, and then the variants of the Vanguard and the Reclaimer, which is a beautiful ship, and I know it's one of Nate's favorite ships, so if you know Nathan Disley likes the ship, it's going to be awesome. 3.3, here's the one. Who knew farming was so popular? So what we're going to aim at 3.3 is farming, sort of the rescue side. Yeah. And then you can hit Tony up about all this here, because yet more fleshing out what we're doing in Stanton, and the Anvil Carrack, which I think that's the 890 jump, right? And The merchantman. So there you go. And by the way, so once the Squadron 42, the Foundry 42 team working on the Squadron 42 ships, they're going up. They're actually all rolling. So the way we're going to do it is that our biggest vehicle team is in Foundry 42, and right now most of them are working on the Squadron 42 ships because there's a lot of them. There's a lot of Vandal ships, a lot of UE big ships like the Bengal, the Idris, the Javelin. So they're all going to roll off onto sort of the big new ships, which are Carrack, Jump, Merchantman, the Hull C we had before. And the US vehicle teams are going to be focusing on sort of the more, something like a Buccaneer or the F8 or something like that. So anyway, and so that's what we're going to have with 3.3. There we go. And then finally, 4.0. So this is which will be that'll be the first time we'll go beyond Stanton to other star systems. I'm not going to say how many star systems yet. Depends how much we'll be able to build with our content pipeline, which we'll show you a little bit up and coming here. But we're very focused on, if you've seen some of the ATV, how to author star systems at the quality level that we like, with the sense of lore and art and character and history, but be able to do planets, because sometimes in FPS games people spend forever years just making a small 2x2 kilometer level, and obviously for us to build the system, the universe that we need to be a bit faster than that. But we will have 4.0 is when you will be able to jump to other star systems. Exploration and discovery will be sort of highlight there for obvious reasons. Science and research. The RSI Orion and the Crucible will be two of the big ships that we will be doing there. So that's the roadmap for Star Citizen. So, and our goal is this is the roadmap going forward in over next year. Again, please don't hold me to dates because everyone goes, "Why did you say that, Chris?" I'm like, oh. Anyway. It's always best laid plans of mice and men. Okay, so now we're going to get on to what we talked about.
Okay.
So it's demo time.
Demo time.
So at Gamescom we showed you flying between locations, and that was our sort of V1 planetary tech. And I said that we have this V2 tech that you're not seeing. There's a whole another level beyond what we were showing you. And the goal really is to sort of deliver that crisis level quality down on the ground, walking around, driving around, but on a global scale, right? So like most of these games, you look at Battlefield, you look at any of the sort of typical FPS, so the Frostbite engine, what CryEngine does, I mean, they do beautiful stuff, but it's all limited to, 2x2 kilometers or 4x4 kilometers, or maybe if you're lucky, 16x16 kilometers. So for us, we want to have that level of quality, but on a planetary scale, and that is a big, big ask. The team in Frankfurt, who have mostly been leading this, are a lot of the guys that built CryEngine in the first place, and they are brilliant. And this has also been supported by a lot of the teams from the other studios, because a lot of our environment and the art and the content and the assets come from other places. But we are going to show you here, I'm going to show you a demo set in a planet. Now, we took a planet not necessarily that's in Stanton because we wanted to have something that had more diverse ecosystems to sort of show you what the tech can do. And so this is the first time we're showing the tech publicly. Of course, like everything we do, it's going to get better and better. But it's a completely new terrain system. It seamlessly supports the sort of spherical terrain at planetary scale. So, most terrain systems are flat, whereas this, it's the planet, it's round, and you can go around every side, and the gravity and everything works. And the horizon line is the actual real horizon line. If you see something, you can walk to it. There is no cheating at all on it. It's all, I know, it's hard to believe it's not faked, I know. Kind of like the moon landing, really. Anyway, but everything's, everything's generated at runtime because you can't have this amount of data in there, and it's amazing. And actually, when we show the demo, I think we've set up so you can sort of see the frame counter, because what the what the guys have done, the game logic and the code and simulation slows everything down. Their actual engine generating the world is incredibly fast. So if you look at the top right, you'll sort of see when you're seeing the world, and you'll see it sort of drop. It's still going to be very fast, but you'll see the frame kind of drop when the game stuff starts happening when you're moving around and stuff. I mentioned there's no view distance. It's artist driven. So we over here I'm going to have Sean and Simon, who I'll introduce in a bit. We'll do a bit more of a deep dive after I've shown you this particular demo to talk a little about it, but longer term. The ATV episode for Frankfurt is going to really go into some of the tools that we use. They're awesome. Was that Brian saying Frankfurt? All right, just checking. That voice sounded familiar to me. But the key is that it's absolutely artist driven. So we're using the procedural techniques, and we're using all this stuff to just basically author planets at a global scale very quickly. But to give it real sense and character, because there's quite a few other games using sort of procedural tech to do planets, and I have to say that technical achievements are all like really impressive and cool and all the rest of the stuff. But for me, I want to sort of be able to say, I want to build this, planet that looks like Hoth, and I want to build this planet that looks like Tatooine, right? I want to have the sense, and I want to be able to control it. And so the big key for the tech we were doing was to have it sort of artist-driven with the procedural technology enhancing what the artists do, and so that's what we're going to show here. The other aspect of it, because it's not just about procedural artist tools, we're also trying to think about how we're creating content for this universe so you can explore and adventure around, and it's not just the interactions with the other players, but we have a rich world that's sort of going on, and there's missions that you can sort of stumble across, or AI are doing things, and we showed at Gamescom sort of an example of coming across a space wreck you have to retrieve a black box from a destroyed starfarer. And what we're planning to do is have sort of a combination of sort of the simpler missions, which are mostly generated, like, oh, well, this location needs this kind of mineral, so they're creating a job for someone to bring it to them, or go and fight the pirates that are getting in the way of the trade lanes. And then there's the sort of more in-depth stuff, which we sort of showed with the Miles Eckhart mission in the Gamescom demo. And what we're showing here is sort of the version of that was more planetary focused, where we build different building blocks and players could come across it and do it. To have a rich living world that they're going to adventure around. And so that's sort of the missions that sort of have these scripted blocks that sort of can procedurally sort of connect to each other and have maybe different situations or outcomes depending what's happening. And that's something that Todd Pappy, who's not here today, who's our design director, and Tony are very big on, and I think it's going to be really cool. So having said that, we are going to go to the demo. Let me see if there's a screen here or not. What's the next screen? Let's go down. Let's go down, and we will start the demo. This is all 100% live in the engine, in real time. Let's go. they missed it. Yeah. He actually says, hello, Citizen Car, but you guys are all laughing when you saw the guy. Right. Here we are in our Constellation Aquila, Aquila. Contrails. So we're heading towards the distress beacon. So the idea with this would be that, you know, you potentially could get a mission where you get a distress beacon and you're going to find out on, you know, in this particular case, this planet. So we're heading towards it. So I think telling us the atmospheric conditions are unsafe. And one of the key gameplay things you want to do, because obviously the planet protect's going to allow us to have a whole bunch of play areas we don't normally have, is to encourage players not to always, you know, maybe you can't always fly there. Maybe you have to get out and use your rover, for instance, which you have to do. Let's go find in the landing zone that's on the edge of the desert plain. You know, it's a little compression there. We've been working on that thing for the... I know it's a small thing, but I always want to have the landing gear compressed when you land. Right, so we're going to head out to do some exploring and the armor on. Right, let's get us let's be nice and tidy, close the locker up, and then grab our gun just in case there's some hostiles out there. I mean, but this is kind of an example, like for instance, you shouldn't be able to sort of sit in heavy armor flying a ship. Maybe you're in your flight suit and then you go and equip your armor or your EVA suit when you need to go outside and do stuff. So you sort of want to make it quite immersive and have different reasons to be equipping and using different stuff. So if you notice, this is the actor that we had that was in People to Planet. He's actually in Squadron 42. He plays a character called Joachim Steiger. Let's go and see the distress beacons about almost 3 kilometers away over there. Get our go, pal. Alright, so let's figure out how to get there since we can't fly. So, handily, we've got the Constellation Killer, so we have a rover. So, you know, you saw the Constellation Killer commercial a while ago. We are now doing this in game in real time. Awesome. Alright.
I was thinking.
And you know, unlike, I mean, all those mountains you see, if you have the time, you don't hear, but I'm sure when you guys get on Croc Planet CC, there'll be lots of videos where people walk all the way around the planet, or they go to the mountain they see in the distance, because that is not a skybox, that is actually the proper mountain geometry that's all there, everywhere. And that's actually the liberating thing with this tech is when it's built planet on
You gonna go straight there or not?
Detail. And of course, you can see up close that it like looks like what you see in Battlefield 1, for instance, in the desert. There, sort of glowing.
What just happened? Star Citizen screen crash. Here goes.
If we take a look back here, you can sort of see where we came from. About 2.5 kilometers back there. And so we're heading past this rock out, this sort of canyon walls to head to the distress beacon. check out something else we had here. A little bit of breadcrumbs. Orpheus Horizon, Javelin class. Wonder where that came from. Alright, let's carry on. See if there's anyone around. I'm gonna head that way to get to the distress beacon. I know the music changing here is all part of the dynamic music logic system. So it'll start to calm down now that the combat's over. Right, so that's, well, we lost our rover, that's not so good. That's where the distress beacon's coming from. That was a trap. Alright, let's see what we got around here. Conveniently, some sand nomad dragonflies. At our shot moment. Here we go. Alright, we got one, we got another distress beacon we've linked to, so let's go look for that. And remember, we came all the way down from planet, all the way down here, and we're down, driving around at this level of detail. So that's kind of a big testimony to what the Prog Planet V2 stuff does, and the tools. Alright, so one more escape pod, which we linked to when we activated the other escape pod beacon. So Vince, by the way, Vince is our lead QA in Los Angeles. He's a much better pilot than me. So you should give him your appreciation. Otherwise, you'd have me crashing into things. Location every class. Yeah, and if you see up there, that's the space station. And if you look closer, you can actually see the rings slowly rotate. But that is the space station we flew past on the way down. And that's kind of what the sort of tech and the 64-bit precision for positional space gives you. So we just can have this dynamic range of scale that I don't think any other game has. So all this up-close detail at this level, at as high quality first person as you see in any other game, but on a global or a planetary or even star system scale. All right, so Orpheus, Horizon, black box. Now between the two pods, triangulated to where the black box of the Orpheus Horizon is, which is the crashed spaceship. Hopefully we'll find it. Vince is undeterred by the impending sandstorm. But seriously, the sandstorm's an example of we want to have dynamic weather on the procedural planets, and we're working to have sort of a dynamic procedural weather system and things like sandstorms, hurricanes, various weather systems are all things that will model onto the planets that will add additional sort of drama and challenges for when you're adventuring and playing around. Alright, let's go check out what these wreckage is. Off in the distance, that's maybe the Orpheus Horizon. Oh, what's that? Hang on a second. Oh! Maybe dangerous out in the desert, who knows? That looks like the Orpheus Horizon in the desert. But we're just gonna do it! And go out there. Yeah, I know, I gotta memorize that whole speech. There.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
So we showed you a crash Starfarer. This is a crash Javelin. I think we'll just pop off here.
This is from like the end of
Still about
my
200
ATV.
meters away. And check out where we're going. Not sure if there's any. Nope. Let's see. Hang on a second. Looks like there's a sad nomad. So should we shoot him? Alright. Oh! Nice shot, man. Vince got cocky. He's like on the move too. Right.
It's just assume that everybody is
Sneak up behind him. Alright. I guess he's watching the incoming sandstorm. That looks like it's getting close. Okay, let's get out of here. Shit. Come on. Hurry up, Vince. Alright, go quick. Fucking jump. Ah. Alright, that's not good. We just lost our way in. Alright, let's see here. That's where the black box is. Hang on a sec. No maps. Oh, shit. Alright. That's where the black box will be. So let's see if we can find a way out. Was, and that's where we were, the Connie up there, which is probably about, I think, 8 or 9 kilometers away.
Go back and watch this again. like a yellow scope. I thought it was green. Hmm.
Maybe that's not such a good idea. How did it? Okay, that's the first time it's ever done that. But you get to see the pull-out twice now. How did it go to the console? Did you hit a key or did...
Nice. Super nice.
All right. So that was a demonstration of the what we can do with the procedural planet V2 technology. Let me just go to the next slide. So we're going to I'm going to hand it over to Sean Tracy, who's our technical content director, and Simon Vickers, who is a senior designer in Planet 42. And we're going to sort of open up the curtain a little bit. They're going to get in the editor, and they're going to sort of zip you around the planet we built for this, which will be a planet that will be in Star Citizen eventually. It's just not in the Stanton system. And so I can kind of show you some features behind it, and then there'll be a deeper dive done by the German office. So I'll hand you over shortly. And I have to say that that last thing was the first time I've ever seen it any time we've done that playthrough, but that's live demos for you. So, Sean, over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. Hey, everyone. How's it going? All right. So, yeah, you guys know I get excited about this stuff all the time. So they thought they'd put a mic in front of me, and actually, like, usually I write down bullet points of what to say. I actually have bullet points of what not to say. So that's going to be good stuff. So I wanted to show you some behind the scenes. They want to see your screen up there. Very good. All right. So what you're seeing in front of you, myself and Simon work in this every day. This is the Spacebox editor. This is what our developers use to build our systems, build the planets. Pretty much anything that goes in the game runs through the editor. So you might recognize Port Olisar, but what you probably haven't seen before is the planet that's sitting there underneath. So one of the big things that we had to do with the CryEngine, and I get asked this a lot of times, like, what did we change from the CryEngine? Did we just take that and start plopping models into it or whatnot? Not at all. The terrain system had to be completely rewritten. So one of the biggest things that it needed to support, of course, was spherical terrain, like you're seeing up there. One of the other things it had to do was go up to a planetary scale. Now, the CryEngine terrain system was actually really good in the first place, but it was designed for, you know, a flat 8-kilometer sort of area. And not a true planet. So one of the other things is all this stuff is runtime generation. So all of it is happening in real time right in front of you. You saw we had the frame counter up in the top right for the entire demo there, and that's something that you know, any engineer, any artist, anybody working on the demo can really be proud of, because that frame rates of that level are hard to get when you're trying to do content to this fidelity. So one of the other things that you saw was the seamless transition from space to first-person ground. I haven't seen any other project or any other game, to that matter, that has the sheer range of scale that we have. So when you get really up close on the first-person terrain, it looks like you're down on the terrain. It's not blotchy. It's not too big. You don't get all screwed up with the scale.
All right, wait.
All right, so the next thing is that there's no restriction to view distance. You saw this in the whole pull-through in the initial demo, but you'll see this here as Simon zooms around within the editor. And again, this is all happening real time. We thought it best to show how we actually build this stuff for you guys, so that you guys can have a little bit of faith that we're going to be able to fill all this content up for you. So one of the things we like to do is just kind of show the scale, because the scale is really hard to wrap your mind around. Even as a designer, it can be very jarring when you go from just a centimeter level of precision all the way out to thousands and thousands of kilometers. So he plopped a character in there just to give you an idea of what you're actually looking at, because it can be easy to get sort of a god complex when you're looking at this kind of stuff. All right, so I think we're going to go find a little area here and do a little bit of work, because one of the biggest and most powerful pieces of the tools, and it's probably what we work on the hardest, is that it's artist guided, but it's procedurally generated. So the artist can still have this really fine-tuned control over the areas that they want, but we can do it on such a massive scale, and they can even go in afterwards and sort of tweak up the objects. So you'll see he's actually just creating more landscape. We actually use an ecosystem technology to do this. So I'm going to let Simon paint a little bit of terrain here. And this is pretty awesome. This is what we get to do every day. So it's really exciting to be able to work on this kind of technology. And it's even better to be able to stand in front of you guys, in front of this kind of technology, because there's 360 other, developers that are working on this stuff. So got to say that it's a massive, massive team effort. All right, so what he's actually doing is taking down different ecosystems. The ecosystem is kind of like a high-level visual representation of a classic level, of a classic game level, really. So the ecosystem defines things like the general terrain shape. So whether it's desert, whether it's mountains, whether it's ocean. It also defines some of the main feature terrains, things like erosion or valleys and trees. And you can see as he paints around, it changes all the ecosystem underneath. All right. Shall we find a nice little spot to build up on? So while Simon looks for a little spot here, just to let you know, the planets are made out of all these ecosystem tiles or chunks, and it's made out of thousands of these chunks, and we can modify them again on a really, really macro scale, so on a planetary scale, or on a very, very micro sort of scale. So the first thing he likes to drop down is always a little bit of a lake or a river. So of course we've got the water support that we wanted to, but we had to actually rewrite the whole ocean and water volume system in the CryEngine to be able to support, again, this spherical level terrain. And as you can see, the results are actually really, really good. It's no pressure on Simon at all. So what he's placing in now is one of these object containers. So again, we thought it'd be cool if we really just kind of pulled the curtains and showed you how we make this stuff. So an object container is how we actually classify a whole bunch of different objects. So it might be lights, it might be geometry, might even be script. There's many different things that an object container can contain. And the whole point of object containers is really so that we have this powerful streaming system so that we can bring in an entire level worth of content and then bring it out. And even better, we can fly around levels of content, which is what the capital ships are really doing. So this is the tower we just saw in Homestead. We're going to set up a little location here. We'll put a couple objects down, and we'll do a little bit of exploring. So you see how quickly the designer actually controls the procedural distribution of the trees, grass, groups of objects. And this isn't restricted to vegetation, right? You can do this with rocks. You can do this with grass. You can do this with buildings, maybe, question mark? We'll get to that at some point, I'm sure. So one of the things I did promise my German counterparts is that we'd keep the tools off the screen because they really want to reveal this stuff. They've done a ton of work on these tools. So a lot of what you see, we get to showcase, you know, the final results of this stuff, but there is so much work that actually goes into being able to bring you that, and a lot of those guys don't get enough credit. So really excited to be able to stand in front of this stuff for them. Woohoo! So he's dressing up the scene a little bit. He's trying to make it a little bit nicer looking. We've got a special little prop here that someone seems to like to drop in. You might recognize it. So we're creating a little home for this crab. I think he lives under the tower. Yeah. Maybe he's got a family. Yeah, it's a daddy crab, you know. Yeah. Now we're talking, Simon. Now we're talking. So that gives you a really good idea of, you know, this took what, maybe, you know, 5-6 minutes, and we were able to build up just a little section. Now, you know, this isn't about to ship out to you guys looking exactly like this, but again, it shows. Oh, I thought he was mad. We would ship it, Simon. We would ship it. You would all play it, I'm sure. So again, we need to be able to create this content super quickly, but still have that artist input, because if you don't have that artist input, eventually you end up with very generic looks, and we can't give you these moments that we really are excited to share with you. So what do you think? Should we show that? All right, so the last little bit of this is kind of a fun bit. Is in a lot of game levels, the thing is that you're in a skybox. Like, what is so hard to wrap your head around is that that's not a skybox. That's actual atmosphere scattering that's happening. The sky is blue because the light scatters, right? So let's just kind of prove that to you. Those little sprites in the sky, they're not really sprites. Those are other planets. So let's see if we can explore one of those. One of the other cool things, anyways, just about our editor in general, you saw that while he's developing, he can actually just jump in and start actually playing the game directly from it. It's a super powerful tool. You won't iterate too much on stuff. If you have to shut down, take 5 minutes to reload some other executable, then you come back to your editor. Being able to just minutely change thing after thing after thing and jump in and try it again and jump in and try it again and jump in and try it again gives you really polished content. So there's one reason I'm standing here talking about it, and Simon's flying. He's a very, very good pilot, and I think we're about to showcase this, no pressure. So that's not a sprite. Let's go. All right. So a little bit of a different looking planet here. So this is kind of showing off a little more of the exotic ecosystem that we can do, and we barely just scratched the surface on how far we can really take the exotic bits. These are sulfur lakes. This place probably just stinks. I mean, it's super hot. The sunset, though, that you can see again with the atmosphere scattering, we get this for free. You know, not for free. I mean, somebody worked very, very hard on it, Carson Wenzel. But in terms of actually running in the game, when the sun comes down on the horizon, yeah, we're going to get that scattering. We get natural day-night cycles because, well, the planet's rotating. So you see, they're doing a bit of mining here, but Simon's, he's brave. All right.